Alright, testing. First of all, before we begin, let's just hope that it works as usual, because if it does not work, then I'll sound like a whole idiot the whole time. Oh yes, it's working. So
yeah,
yep,
it's working.
Hello everyone, so welcome to the stream, and this is a championship tournament. Yeah, this is the championship tournament day 5, which, yeah, we somehow are going back in time, because the story was that at Saturday, on day 5 at Saturday, I could not make it, so I did Sunday live first, and now I'm gonna go back to Saturday with my lovely partner here, Nyashi. Hello there.
Hello. I am back. For those who were asking last time, my electricity died midstream, and that is why I disappeared out of thin air. But
Yeah.
I'm back.
Yeah, you know that the joke is that me and Sin were both having technical issues. My mic was having issues, and then Sin's Wi-Fi is having issues, and then your electricity is like bye.
Yeah, mine definitely the worst. Come on, cannot beat that.
Yep,
I
we're
had
not
to
being that.
sleep with like 30-degree heat basically because I had my windows open the entire time.
Oh, no AC, no fan.
Yeah, no AC, no fan. Just lying in the bed at like super hot temperatures. And then it didn't even come back when I wake up. It was like till afternoon basically. So I was just there.
Honestly, I think you're going to need the hermit or the prisoner to help you out.
Yeah, no, honestly, where are they? Actually, where are they? Especially the prisoner. I need my prisoner. I love prisoner.
Alright. Yep. Yeah. Probably we can see more prisoner in today's action. Oops, I almost realized that I did not turn off one of my other game tabs so people can see me play other games. No everyone, this is
the opening star rail.
This is no. This is IDV. We do not mention other games here.
Oh, whoops.
Okay,
yeah,
so
I forget what I said.
Yep, with that, here's a quick recap. So yeah, we gone back in time a bit. Is that what ended up happening is that we're going to be casting the 2-2-0 matches. WYS versus FCMN, CC versus Sky, also HLT versus Together, and LS versus ES today. So yeah,
so a lot of
go ahead.
So a lot of teams that we're gonna be able to look into today. The one thing I would be waiting for is one and only Mimi Moo Moo, the Sculptor main. I believe it's actually this team, the first one, not Write Your Story, the one after, but for Write Your Story we have GNAF, Izuhaha, Happy, Haoyet, Moru. John, feel free to say that for me.
斩獲相絕活.
There we go. And that's for Write Your Story here, who has been doing pretty well so far.
Yep, they are currently 2 on the bracket. Wait, let me check. Are both of us... Yeah, I think both of us are audible in the stream. Anyways, on to the next one. We have Baby Top, Mimi Moo Moo, Vivian Nieni, Pang Xinran, and Fat Cat. And this team, Mimi Moo Moo, is the team with the Galatea maid that I've talked about. But first of all, let's just jump ahead because we have quite the time today, and seeing as the middle of a weekday, it's better we don't spend too long on this.
Agreed. And we are going to be seeing Mimi Moo Moo. Going to be the first hunter here we're going to be seeing for tonight. We are going to see the Priestess van. I do wonder, Moonlight River Park Big Map, we did see Mimi Moo Moo play the Sculptor here before, I believe, and when they first played this tournament, this stream. But we are going to see Coordinator ban as well. So, I mean, these are pretty standard bans. Priestess is pretty standard. If you're just wanting to play Sculptor, and Coordinator can just be pretty annoying at times.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if it's going to be a Sculptor if they ban the core, because Galatea doesn't necessarily have to deal with the Coordinator. And the issue right now we have is they have the Embalmer over here, which the Embalmer is a very good counter pick against the Galatea, because with the help of his Coffin and Respawns, the Sculptor will have a massive trouble since she's more of a camper hunter. And the second issue we're having here is that this is Moonlit River Park, and Moonlit River Park is being a a map that's arguably one of the sculptor's weakest maps, this is going to be, in theory, giving Mimi Mumu here a lot of pressure. But then again, we said that before in Mimi Mumu's first match in Moonlit River Park, and he surprises us. But then he's gonna surprise us here today with not the sculptor, but rather an opera singer here, Jafet or Nyashi.
Yeah, opera singer. You know what? I like this pick. I mean, if we're not gonna get the sculptor gameplay, we might as well get something just as interesting. Opera singer has been consistently good. I feel like when it comes to opera, it's a game of technical skill. Whoever's just the better player gets the win. And against this team composition, I mean, yeah, Acrobat can be a bit of a trouble, especially at forward stop. So Psychologist can tank another hit, but for Mercenary and for Embalmer, especially with how mobile Opera Singer is, sometimes their items just don't come to fruition.
Yep, so looking over here at the personas here, we do have two tide turners with like a faring enough number of broken windows, so it's fine. One thing to note is that they only got one borrowed time, being the Mercenary bringing over here. And based on this bomb selection, I feel like the Opera Singer could chase either the Acrobat or the Psychologist, depending on who she's more confident with. Because we've also seen a lot in the past of how like Opera Singer deals with the Acrobat in the last stop by baiting out the bomb and then just shadow dancing back.
Yeah, but one saving grace for the Acrobat is the fact that he's going to be running 12-9 in this game, so a lot more leverage than just the balls. Meanwhile, for Psychologist, he actually also borrowed time, actually, so 12-3 on the side of Psychologist. And I do think that chasing a Psychologist might be a bit better here for Opera Singer, but again, it boils down to preference.
So we're going to be heading into the game right now between regular story with Team FCMN with your caster Invisible, Jung, and Nyashi. And let's skip ahead. Alright, so in the game, but it seems that Mimi Mumu here is not going to be going after the Acrobat and rather going to go after the Psychologist instead. And one thing to note is that Psychologist only has flywheel effect, meaning that she'll have a harder time in kiting out the Opera Singer, seeing she has no broken windows to like expand and increase the gap.
Yeah, going to be dropping this pallet very early on, and as soon as the break comes in, now Shuang 2 is going to be rotating towards this 2-pallet area. Nice pallet stun here on the side of Psychologist, and now Mimi Mumu. Okay, dash didn't get cancelled, so still can dash through, but this pallet drop here is going to slow him down a bit.
Yeah, like, because one thing to note is that Opera Singer that got nerfed is actually going to Shadow Dancing, but he ended up Shadow Dancing a bit too far, giving the Psychologist maybe a chance to get into the pallet. Amazing dodge by the Psychologist here, forcing Mimi Mumu to break another pallet, and currently the Psychologist is doing a very good job in utilizing these pallets, and only taking the first hit now when Mimi Mumu missed the first dash over there.
Yeah, but now I do believe he only has one pallet to work with here. It is a pretty long one. He is actually going to be immediately going for the blink, and Shuang 2 kind of panicking, trying to go to this other pallet area. One more mind game to play. Just drops down the pallet, and actually going to take the down while still having stress. Possibly, maybe trying to get a rescue here for Acrobat, but we are going to see here. We are going to see actually Embalmer Coffin comes out.
Oh, yeah, that's very early in the game. I didn't even realize when it happened. So, let's see. Are they going to be choosing to respawn? Actually, not going to be respawning, as the Mercenary here is ready. But one dangerous thing is the Mercenary got found relatively early. So, there was a potential for the Mercenary to get cut off. But fortunately, with 2 elbow pads, he's going to make it to the chair. But with like 2 elbow pads gone, this means that the Mercenary won't have that many items to work with now, as the Psychologist will be continued to be chased over here.
Yeah, Psychologist gonna hope to try and kite as long as possible, but it does seem as if he's just gonna go ahead and take that last effort hit. He's gonna be trying to die in the corner. I believe Embalmer just rotated his coffin even further away. Does manage to get the peep cup right on time so he can chair a bit closer to Coffin, but Coffin's all the way on the other side here, which does seem as if this was the plan of Team Write Your Story all along. Their cipher decoding is slightly slower, but now Psychologist has a chance to potentially rebound.
So, yeah, but does he have a chance, though? We'll have to see, though. One thing to note is that the Opera Singer is indeed much slower than before, and I don't know if it's just me, but it seems that the dashes from Mimi Mumu this game is relatively slower. So, let's see. Mimi Mumu is heading towards the Psychologist and is going to spot her out, but the thing is that the invincibility time has already expired, meaning that she's back into full health and 2 hits are going down. So Mimi Mumu will definitely need to take some time before he can down the Psychologist once again. Oh, and very nice
Does
flywheel
manage to get
there.
the flywheel, but doesn't get stuck there right on the pallet, so he still takes a hit regardless here. We are going to be seeing 4 ciphers are now being at play here, at least have some relatively good progress, and 2 are about to get popped here. Psychologist now trying to play this pallet mind game, unfortunately fails hit, and Balmer is right beside as well. But that is going to be out for Psychologist here, and that is going to be at least one person down here for the side of me.
Uh-huh. So with that, it's going to send back to the manor. It's going to be teleporting straight towards the mercenary who only has one more elbow pad to work with. And with that being gone, so the mercenary will have to rely on these 2 pads to just kite around a bit. But seeing the cipher nearby at 70%, all you have to do is to kite for a reasonable amount of time, then the ciphers would be enough. So Mimi Moo knows this. This is why he's going to go after Embalmer. And one thing to note is that because the mercenary is the only one with borrowed time, if either the Embalmer or the Acrobat gets like targeted for endgame, then this might like backfire on the survivors when the ciphers pop.
Yep, you are going to see Mercenary opening a chest, and they're going to be starting on a new cipher. Haoyet tries to go and get the vault here, does manage to get to the pallet right on time as well, but does seem as if he might actually go down here. Now, the cooldown for the dash is done, and he's just going to try to die in the corner as much as possible, try to make sure that the cipher doesn't get pressured, even misses the drop down hit there, and Embalmer finally goes down.
Yep, I think Embalmer is going to go down soon. There's actually a bit of chance for Mimi Moo endgame is that he doesn't necessarily have to teleport or harass a cipher, because the Embalmer has no borrowed time and the mercenary is in half health. So as soon as the mercenary comes, he just has to hit him once, and then for the next one try to get the farm off the Embalmer the moment the mercenary goes down. Then he'll be good because the Embalmer has no borrowed time, meaning the mercenary has to try and body block, but Mimi Moo doesn't seem to know which way the mercenary is coming in, so might be allowing a free rescue here, which is less than ideal situation, definitely.
And doesn't realize that Embalmer doesn't actually have borrowed time here, so instead he's now going to go to the Mercenary, but keep in mind, Embalmer still has 1 coffin, so it's very possible that Embalmer may consider using the coffin on this Mercenary. Now Acrobat is going to be opening the gate. Meanwhile, Haoyet is actually using the coffin now on Mercenary here, as he's now making his way towards the gate as well.
Yup, and Mimi Moo knows he cannot waste any more time here, because with the coffin on the mercenary, he cannot just chase after it. So his best chance here is to go for the Acrobat, who does have the dungeon at this side of the map, but unfortunately the roller coaster is gone and anything, so the Acrobat would not be able to kite for the dungeon. And when you see that 2 remaining survivors are already at the other side of the gate, so for this first game, it's going to be a tie game because the Mimi Moo definitely cannot make it there in time.
Yep, and so for Team FCM and Write Your Story manages to get a tie on both their ends here.
So honestly, for this round, the Embalmer play was definitely very crucial because after the Psychologist got found there, the Psychologist went down. It actually was not too slow and kind of a reasonable amount of time, and the Embalmer respawning her at the other side of the map was definitely a very good job, like a good communication and strategy, seeing that the Opera Singer already expanded his ability on Blink, so he'll have no warp and no teleport to stop that.
Agreed. And now for Team Write Your Story, they do have the Hunter pick here, and at least in my opinion, I still think it's kind of a Hunter-sided meta. I mean, we've been seeing more Survivor wins as of recent, but especially in most cases, you do see Hunters winning in these tournaments, as we're going to see an advertisement. No other games. We can't show other games.
Disclaimer, I did not get paid to play those adverts.
Yes. Anyways, we are going to see Write Your Story is going to be banning the mechanic, very conventional ban for Goatman or Hullabaloo, as we are going to see Gardener may actually come up here on the side of FCM, and question is, what's their next pick?
Yeah, like one thing to note is that currently, since both teams are tied, this means that any side getting a win is going to tip over the balance here, so definitely both sides will try to either get a free man escape or a free man elimination. Gardener and Seer. This is a pretty standard like Opera Singer counter ban, and also in theory it also is workable against the Goatman, seeing that Goatman does not like getting tanked with the cages, because after the nerf, Goatman has dropped off a bit because Now his resentment level would not be as much as before, meaning that one extra hit is 40 resentment level gone, and the Goldman would not have as many cages as before to use.
Yeah, but we are going to be seeing Mercenary ban on the side of Write Your Story. One thing I've noticed about this tournament is the addiction to Mercenary. We've seen it a handful of times, so now Write Your Story blocking FCMN of that opportunity, as we are going to see Wildling potentially here on the side of FCM, and I'm wondering what their other survivor is. It's going to be Coordinator, and all of a sudden this looks completely like an Opera encounter.
Yeah, definitely, but who knows, maybe this hunter called 杂货商绝活 Peddler Pro is going to play, surprise, surprise, Peddler. Well, no.
way.
In Moonlit, maybe not.
Yeah, I do think Moonlit might be. I mean, then again, let's see. Peddler Pro. It's a pro.
Uh-huh.
So
I literally started playing her today, and yeah, she's definitely have an okay amount of strength, but definitely not like the priority. And one thing that I've noticed when I play her is that her vines are very her vines are very hard to control. It's very easy to miss when the survivors run in circle.
Exactly, and we are going to be seeing here. For Write Your Story, I mean, they could, if he's really confident,
I think
he could still go for Opera Singer, because it does seem as if maybe Write Your Story has a really strong Opera Singer here. Maybe consider other picks. I mean, while I think against Goldman, this isn't necessarily a bad comp either. Actually, Hullabaloo as well. Like Hullabaloo gets countered by Hullabaloo counters Wilding rather, and that's actually going to be the pick that comes out.
Yeah, that was what I was thinking. Hullabaloo in one way can deal with the Wildling because he can like take damage and force Wildling off the board. Though the question is how exactly can you get land hits on Wildling on the board? But yeah, it's workable. And for Gardener and Seer, like one way or another, the Gardener can, like Hullabaloo can deal with the Gardener. So yeah, it's definitely, comparing to Goldman, it might be better in this case because Goldman's resentment level is going to be wasted by a lot. But for Hullabaloo, he has ways around it. The one thing that we really note is that, at least what I saw in IJL, is that Hullabaloo fell off a lot ever since he got nerfed.
Yeah, I mean, 100% agree with that take. I mean, we've seen teams even ban Opera Singer over Hullabaloo in the second round, and I think that just shows how two things. Hullabaloo really got hit by the nerf, and also a lot of teams have figured out how to deal with Hullabaloo. Back then, the way that he works, he was kind of game breaking in the sense that he doesn't play like other hunters. But after people have figured it out, all of a sudden people know how to deal with the Hullabaloo even more than the Opera Singer, and so now we're seeing different bans in that second round, and Goatman's almost always the consensus BO1 pick.
Mm-hmm.
But this time around, we're going to be seeing that Hullabaloo come into play.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Hullabaloo because like I'm more familiar with him, and it's just amazing to see how well they get like two marks on with the double surprise and everything. And meanwhile, while we're commentating, Panda is just here sitting in our call, just having popcorn here. So hello, Panda. You're free to stay however as long as you're stay muted. So
yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, you're free to stay here because this is not secrets. Anyway, so yeah, first of all, let's agree that this Peddler Pro here would not go after the Wildling first, so it would definitely be the Gardener. So the only question here is that if the Hullabaloo would try to like get free instant hit marks and take a hit on the Gardener's bubble, or would he like just wait until the bubble expires before like going full on chasing? I'll speed ahead. Into another advert.
Oh no!
I am not paid by these games. Anyways, heading into the game, we can see that Hullabaloo will be heading straight towards the Gardener, is able to get a Pyrotechnist mark here, and the Dry Ice is also so that's actually 2 Fright marks relatively early in the game here, so this is actually looking for a very decent start, because if he gets the Clay mark, then he's gonna have Insolence, and then have like First Presence and ready very soon.
Yeah, and he did bring fast pallet breaking as well, and the clay mark is all that remains. Double surprise comes into
Ooh.
effect, does miss it, but finally does manage to get the hit, and the red ball as well. So actually pretty good here for the Hullabaloo.
Yep. Alright, this is going to be like a relatively close game battle. But one thing to note is that they also have the Seer though, so in theory, he still needs 3 more hits to down the Gardener, and this is going to be a good waste of a time. But oh, a very good double surprise there, getting 2 marks instantly. I didn't even see how that occurred, and tries to go for another double surprise swing here, unfortunately missing. But now he's only 1 mark from going down, as we can see the Seer is spectating. Ready to block, but let's see, is the Seer able to give out the out? This is very close. A beautiful out there, just having the Gardener survive for long. And right now we can see this Gardener is tanking a lot of hits here, Nyashi, and that's a good pallet stun.
Yep, and we already see Coordinator does manage to finish his cipher, tries to go for the blind double surprise, but does not get it, and now it's on cooldown once again. He is going to see here Gardener is going to be using the bubble to stall a bit more time, realizing that he can no longer kite in this scenario. Still can use this pallet here, and we are going to see a jump there to down the Gardener, and that's going to be a down. But 3 ciphers here on the side of survivors. This is looking really bad for the Hunter.
Yeah, honestly, if you ask me, like, if there are any things that Huda Blue did wrong, particularly in that kite, I couldn't think of any. It was really just like the ability from the Survivor Team Comp to tank a lot of hits, because he took 4 hits to down the Gardener. It's really in pain, and it was really like giving this Hula Blue here a lot of trouble. So here, looking to try and get a hit on the walling down fast, as full presence in play here. Wants to go for a double down. Is he able to? Is able to get the double down. So this was definitely going to save this game a bit, but we can see that the Coordinator here is ready to harass, so let's see how would this flare gun be used in this situation.
Just 1 more mark remaining here, and he does manage to get it. Meanwhile, Coordinator all of a sudden is getting chased off here. Let's see if he can actually even get a hit here. Does not get the dry ice there, but now finally does manage to do so. Now just missing a claim mark, actually, and he even gets the hit here. He's even trying to go more aggressive here, which is interesting. Gardener is just all the way outworking Carousel as well.
Yeah, like I thought he was just trying to chase off the core, but here he's gonna go for an aggressive, but not able to get the white mark here. Unfortunately, a bit misplaced on his part, so this is not looking good. And if he's going to, oh, never mind, he ended up getting down. My bad there. So is able to get it down, but the amount of time he took was definitely worth considering, seeing that the Gardener self-heal. But the good news is that now you have 2 survivors on a chair, and because the Gardener is dead on chair, the Gardener in theory would not dare to come, so this is probably going to force the Seer to come over, because the Gardener would not dare to approach in and rescue at all.
Yeah, and we are going to see here Gardener is decoding the cipher nearby as well. Hunter can consider chasing to it, or switching to him, but we are going to be seeing the Seer is also within the vicinity. Coordinator might consider self-healing, and we do see that it's going to be the case. Keep in mind now Wildling is already going to be after half. Meanwhile, Gardener's also here decoding as well, and injured too. We are going to see Fat Cat is trying to body block for him though.
Oh, and unfortunately not able to. Leslie is able to get 1 more hit, are going to be going for Encore, is able to, but hold on, Pedro Pro here is wanting for more, goes for another hit, and a beautiful flyout effect there, negating the damage, but unfortunately just not enough, as the Seer will be going down once again, and the Gardener who is dead on chair is in the vicinity vulnerable. Maybe having the Gardener who is dead on chair decode nearby is not the best decision here, as Flare Gun is going to come in play, but 1 excitement negates that, and now we have 3 survivors that are either balloon or on the ground just now there, Nyashi.
Yeah, and this just went from a 3 cipher kite to all of a sudden, this looks like a 4K opportunity from the Hunter. He was just able to, prioritize getting the double down, getting the triple down even, and all of a sudden, this is looking really bad for the survivors. We do see that Gardener actually still has 1 chair time, but now Coordinator goes down, Wildling goes down, Wildling's also dead on chair. Fat Cat is going all the way to the other side, but this is not looking great for them here right now. We are going to see Baby Top is going to be getting chaired, and after Gardener goes down, Baby Top gets chaired. We are going to see that's going to be 2 survivors out already on the gate, and they still have 2 ciphers remaining.
Yep, that's 2 survivors out, and also the core has no self-heal, so this is only the Seer remaining. Like, who would have thought that such a good first kite would turn into that? Like, the Warling got doubled down, and then the Coordinator got chased down there. Maybe over that point, the Coordinator got too aggressive, like, or rather a bit too greedy with the item, not using the flare gun and going down, because that led into the series of disaster with 3 survivors going down. Maybe as soon as the coordinator got chaired, she should have used her flare gun and kept herself safe. Because if she goes down there, it would have been a complete disaster towards the survivor. As here, Write Your Stories Hunter, with an amazing hula baloo performance, is able to take the 7-2.
Yep, and I believe that is enough for them to qualify. So,
Yep.
Congratulations to Write Your Story here. That 4K hullabaloo was crucial for them to get that qualification spot, and all of a sudden, for FCMM, they still have one more match, or they still have one more game, in fact, 2 more games to actually try and get the qualification spot, so not the end for them.
Oh, by the way, hello, NTT. Hello, NTT.
Shout out to NTT.
Yep, shout to NTT.
But, like, you have to admit, I mean...
Oh, yeah, I probably need to turn my audio down a bit lower. Hold on.
Yeah, sure.
I'll turn my audio down a bit lower. This new mic I got is good.
I mean, this is really good on the side of the Hunter here. I mean, I feel like the saving grace is really the fact that they played Wildling was such a daring move. Like, they really wanted to counter, I guess, the opera singer, but in the end, they got hullabalooed, and hullabalooed got them. So it does seem as if I'm very unfortunate for the side of FCM.
Yeah.
And once again, 2 more matches for them. But for Write Your Story.
Yeah, while I skip to the next one, let's just see. I really just feel like the court not using the flare gun there was one of the fatal moves, because she going down there led to the disaster. And Gardner, who has been chaired once, should probably have left that side of the map entirely and not get busted there too.
Yep, and now we're going to be heading into CC, Content Creator versus Guy.
You never casted them. You can introduce them.
Oh, I feel like I have, but alright. For Team CC, we got basically Zeta Division, but not actually Zeta Division. Dolisu, Peter, Hamitu, Miko Melody, Kazuneko, Shinami, and Alfar. Really funny that they just have Zeta Division's names.
Alright.
For this.
Yeah, I'll do this. We have 银蝶片飞如落雪，温暖雪，恋与第5人格，复雪，是一败全女 and 70FHKXP. Yeah, this is all Chinese.
I can pronounce that. Isn't this where Panda is? Panda's just on the VC, so Panda's watching her own team.
Panda is just watching us casting his own match. Yep, I guess that's why Panda came in.
He wants to see it for himself. But yeah, I mean, we're pretty familiar with these teams already. They've played twice before, and now they're up 2-0, especially Sky. But we are going to be seeing, I do wonder, I mean, this is really funny. It's like a co-match, because the other side you have people with the Zeta names as well.
Well, people can see in one way or another this is like a 0.5 version of Zeta versus Sky.
0.5 version. I mean, maybe they're secretly Zeta. I mean, they've gone 2-0 here, so they've been doing pretty well here. As now we are going to be seeing Peter from the side of Content Creators is going to be playing against Sky Survivors as Fire Investigator becomes the first ban.
Well, if you ask me what is the first thing that comes in mind of that hates Fire Investigator, I can only think of the Shadow, because the Shadow hates Fire Investigator as she gets countered badly. If we think about the 2 meta hunters like Goatman or maybe Hula Baloo, they are not necessarily the worst against the Fire Investigator. As meanwhile, Sky here, we're going to be seeing Gravekeeper as the first pick. The second one, we're probably going to be seeing a more tanky survivor, such as the Puppeteer, Psychologist, or Seer. Seeing neither of those 3 has gotten banned. So yes, indeed, as we're going to be Seer being selected, and the reason why we're seeing more tanky survivors in this meta is because Ghostman, after being nerfed, like one of the easiest way to counter him is to just select tanky survivors and tank the heck out of his hits. So that is why we see the Seer here.
Yeah, Antiquarian does get banned for Sky. That is an opportunity to potentially get Mechanic if they want to, or go for something like Airplanist. We also still have Puppeteer available, even as far as Magician Novelist also available for Sky to pick up here. We are seeing they're hovering on the Aeroplanist right now, so I do wonder what is their fourth pick potentially here.
Well, the aeroplanist is probably as a potential precaution against Hula Baloo, seeing that Hula Baloo does not like it. So we're gonna be seeing Professor, and actually this makes sense because first of all, Professor is like very decent against Ghostman because he has the extra hit there, like he can block an extra 0.25 damage. And second of all, his shields is also going to be very useful against the Goatman in the cage. And third of all, even if there's a Hula Baloo, if a professor times it right, he can use his skill to negate all the damage taken towards him. So this professor, while interesting, it definitely makes some sense now that I'm thinking about it, Nyashi.
Yeah, Professor is such an interesting pick. I really like this pick. I mean, it's very different from what we've seen so far, especially with Angel coming back to fruition here. And I do wonder now for content creators. I mean, they did pick Fire Investigator, they pick Anti. They also banned Antiquarian. We did already mention the Goatman Hullabaloo before, but I mean, again, the Shadow with the Fire Investigator ban also very possible here for the side of Team CC. Even opera singer if they really want to play that, and that is also very much available for them to pick.
Yeah, I mean opera singer. Let's see. But the shadow probably would not is like least likely here because I feel like here, except for the Gravekeeper, the three remaining survivors can deal with the shadow very decently one way or another. So we probably would not be seeing that. But seeing that this is CC Peter, and if like this player here is like the person he's named after, maybe we're going to be seeing the Hula Baloo because the one thing we note is that the Peter in this code is very strong with the Hula Baloo, but is opting for a Ghostman instead. And honestly, I feel like here Goatman and Hula Baloo are both 50-50, but this is a very tanky team with the Sears out and the Professor. So the Goatman's best bet here is probably to go after the Aeroplanist first.
Yeah, and so it boils down to whether the airplaners can properly use the jetpacks to stall time away from the cage. I do wonder for Peter here. I wonder why he didn't just name himself CC Chaw Ai with the way he'd be playing Goatman right now. But this is a very decent composition against Goatman. We've already mentioned as to why the ability to tank hits, even if he chases Airplaners here, which may be the ideal chase for him. I mean, it's still going to be difficult if Airplaners can properly use those jetpacks to stall that time as well. So, I mean, for the side of CC, it really boils down to being able to make every cage count.
Yeah, definitely. Like that's the thing with Goatman in this meta. His room of error comparing to before nerf is much weaker than before once he hits full presence, because in full presence his resentment level regenerates much slower. And in early game, ideally with a Goatman, you have three cages. You have up to three cages to down whoever you want to get down. And if after three cages you do not get the survivor down, then the Goatman will be having a very hard time. And we're going to be seeing he's going to be spawning between the Gravekeeper and the Aeroplanist. So the Aeroplanist would definitely have to run for it because it's unlikely that he's going to go after the Gravekeeper first.
He can also, I don't, I mean, he could consider also going for the Seer as well if he wants to. I mean, it's possible, but it's also going to just boil down to how good the Seer is going to be. But yeah, Aeroplanist seems to be the most likely chase here for the side of Peter. Uh, Again, definitely not going to be chasing the Gravekeeper either, because we are going to be heading here. Sky Survivors versus CC Hunter.
Yep, with your caster Invisible Joan and Nyashi. So let's skip ahead a bit. Alright, we're heading into the game. Peter's gonna be heading towards the Professor, but as Nyashi mentioned, he might also switch onto the Seer instead. Let's see who is the real target. But it seems that the Seer had already rotated out, so it's going to be the Professor who takes, or rather the Aeroplanist who takes his first kite. And oh, there goes the first cage. It barely misses here. Let's see, will we be seeing the first jetpack? Yup, the first jetpack will be here, able to run through the image there to just evade the hit here. And this Aeroplanist did a very good job in kiting out the first cage, as the first cage is going to get dropped before he takes the first hit.
Yeah, and we are seeing the effect of the Goldman nerf here is now he's down to 30 resentment here. He even gets the Professor scale that was dropped here at what do you call it? At Ruins? Wait, sorry, I'm trying to remember what the call here. But we are going to be seeing Cage is going to be ready for Peter, but so is Owl. So the question is, when will they use what?
Yep, let's see. Oh, not using the owl. Going to have a shield, and there goes the owl. So I think that was a relatively early spectate on the Seer's part because the Seer forced to use the owl without the block. And ooh, that's a very nice backstep here. Almost getting the aeroplanist. Let's see, he is very close now, but there's still a scale to work with. Unfortunately, not being able to utilize that scale. And with that, this is going to be a 2.3 cipher, or near 2.5 cipher kite, which is decent enough considering this is a Goatman, but there's definitely room of more. And right now it's going to be near the Seers, so the Seers have to be very careful because there's a possibility he's going to get surprised by Cage there.
Yeah, and it seems as if Seer is just immediately dipping out of the vicinity. Meanwhile, I believe that is Professor actually giving tinnitus on their end as well. Not sure if Gravekeeper is making his way already. It does seem as if it's going to be Professor taking this first rescue in the meantime, and we are going to see a hit now for the side of Peter.
Oh, trying to body block because he does have the scale. Let's see, is he able to get the block? Misses it, and a very beautiful scale hardening from the Professor blocking off, and is able to demolish the Cage too. And this is what we're talking about. The weakness of Goatman is that he does not like getting like a body block like this. As the Peter will be continue going after the aeroplanist, who sets one more jetpack and the hovering to work with, and then we just so happen to have an advert in the middle of a chase. Yay!
I mean, it's a pretty cute dog here. I cannot
Forget about
lie.
the game, we have a dog.
Yep. Don't worry, guys. This is actually what happened in the middle of the game. But we are going to be seeing now Aeroplanist is going to be using the last jetpack here. Unfortunately, cannot kite any longer. But, I mean, they're already working on their last two ciphers. As they're also going to get the pop here on the side of Professor Gravekeeper now heading towards the rescue.
Yeah, but the last cipher will be slower considering that the Gravekeeper had to leave the cipher and the Professor going to go in. Gravekeeper going to be using the shovel here, but going to hit the Gravekeeper out. But I think after the Gravekeeper pulls off the rescue, he can consider body blocking. And Peter knows that he has low in resentment level. That is why he's just going to go for a swing without a cage here. As this time he gets the swing, but he's very low in resentment level right now, and that is the effect of the Goldman nerf we're talking about, is that the resentment would not exactly be enough, as the Goldman cannot afford to miss this next cage, or else this will be a disaster for him.
We are going to see here Cage does come out. Will he get the hit on the airplanist? Does not get the hit on the airplanist, and all of a sudden Cypher is going to be at 70%. He's going to make the switch here, going to be chairing the Gravekeeper instead, noticing that the Cypher is about to be primed, realizing that he needs to force and pressure this Cypher as much as possible. I'm not sure, though, if he may be a bit too late in that play.
Yeah, and little did he know is that it had no borrowed time, but hold on. Goes for the knock here, and a beautiful skill block from the Professor. The Professor does have borrowed time, but it is not a good place for him to be at, as the Professor is going to go down. So now the survivors will have to send in like 2 survivors, 1 to rescue and 1 to pop the cipher. But we're going to have a quick pause real quick, which we can fortunately skip past it.
This is what happens when you're up against Peter from Japan, guys. It's gonna lag a lot. I'm kidding.
No,
anyways, we are seeing here the abnormal is gonna take in effect, trying to stop the Cypher progress from progressing any further. He's gonna be chairing right outside here of Middle Broken. Keep in mind they do have, I believe, all of a sudden Airplanist actually gets wanted order, so he can even make the switch. All of a sudden, Peter actually has a tie condition here. Unfortunately, misses the cage, but the watch on the side of Aeroplanist misses the hit right there. Very unfortunate on their side, and now trying to get this down, but they're also decoding the cipher too.
Yeah, like that abnormal switch may not be the best play over there unless he can get this Aeroplanist down in one hit. So let's see. Oh, misses the swing. His time is running out here. Is able to get it down, fortunately for him. And considering that the Aeroplanist did not have borrowed time anyway, so this might not matter too much, as the cipher is about to be done though. But Peter Turn now has a chance to go for more, seeing that all 3 survivors are on his face right now.
Yep, we are gonna see here. Nobody's at the gate right now. As I do say that, though, I believe that is the professor at the gate. Does not get the scale, and down he goes almost immediately. Keep in mind he's already been chaired once. We do know for a fact Peter can no longer switch to teleport though, since he made that switch to abnormal very late into the game, as now they're going to be trying to decode the gate. And the question for Peter, can he make it in time? It's already 50%, 60% here. They are both at the gate right now. Does have 72 resentment. I feel like he might be just a bit too late. Doesn't even get the back I don't know, the backflip
Backstep,
time, but
backstep.
like that is going to be a
That's called
tie here.
backstep.
Backstep, there we go. But it is going to be a tie here on the side of CC and Sky.
Yeah, unfortunately, his double cage towards the end was a bit too late. I feel like earlier he maybe could have made it just on time, but yeah, a little bit too late on his part though. But considering that he was forced to switch chairs mid game, it was like this was definitely acceptable, seeing that he caught the aeroplanist and is able to get that down. So a tie is definitely like acceptable on both ends. But really, I think throughout this game we can see that the Goldman nerf definitely had a bit of impact on him, seeing that he no longer has as much cages to use as before.
Yeah, he did actually manage to clutch that late game. That abnormal saves him a bit of time to get the aeroplanist down, and he was able to secure a 2 kill at a situation that felt like it was about to be a tree escape for the side of survivors. So for Peter, pretty decent result here. And now Sky's Hunter has to hope to maybe try and get the 4 kill or a tree kill here. And for CC survivors, maybe a tree escape is what we're aiming for.
Yep. So yeah, we're going to be skipping ahead as we're going to be moving on to the second round. As you as you mentioned just now, it's going to be any side taking the win is going to break it through. So now, we're going to be seeing Seer ban straight away, and this one, from what we know, it like he's probably Hetian. As we know, the Hetian, Hulabaloo and Goldman are both very powerful. We are going to be seeing the Knight and the Puppeteer in play here, though. So this is going to be like a decent preparation against both the Goatman and the Hulabaloos potentially.
I will be honest, I actually am a believer that Knight is a fraudulent character. But with Antiquarian ban, we are going to see Mechanic is being hovered. That's something that Sky did not pick last match, even though they had the opportunity to. So now CC seeming to prioritize the Cypher Rush, and they're also picking the Professor. Damn, I did not know that Zeta Division, content creator had strats like these.
Well, we did see how well that the Professor dealt with the Goldman at the last round, so maybe here content creators are looking to replicate that success, but that means this guy can also pull out some other strategies as they don't necessarily have to deal with they don't necessarily have to pick the Goldman. They can pick the Hulabaloo, or maybe back to the opera singer too. Ivy here is less ideal, seeing the Professor counters the Ivy because his hardening scales can negate a stun now, and the Puppeteer being a very tanky survivor. But knowing
What
that,
if they just play Clown? Sorry, I was like internal thoughts because Knight. But yeah, as you mentioned, Ivy doesn't feel like an ideal pick. Opera Singer is a pretty solid pick here, and that's actually gonna be the pick that they run with. I swear I've gotten that like twice today. But we are gonna see. This is a pretty reasonable pick for the side of Sky.
oh yeah, definitely a reasonable pick, seeing that both the Goldman and Hulabaloo have counters here. And for the Opera Singer against Professor, it'll be easier for the Opera Singer to bait out the scales on the Professor's part, and also the Mechanic is very, very fragile against the Opera Singer, and in theory, she cannot kite for long. So the Mechanic would definitely have to make the kite of her life, considering that she has a slow pallet vaulting speed here, Nyashi. Nyashi?
Oh, it was I was muted. Whoops. But for the side of mechanic. I mean, I feel like Upper Singer should definitely go for mechanic here. You don't want mechanic to have an opportunity to just have basically two bots in the game or two people decoding at the same time in the game, because if you have mechanic out, sorry, rather, you do want to just as soon as possible get to mechanic, get the early down, so that the cipher progress isn't immediately speeding up. Because if you chase here for puppeteer, puppeteer can at least use the Lewis, and so for mechanic at least he can still decode without that debuff and still have the doll as well decoding too. And same goes for Professor if he uses the scale. Knight can also stall a bit of time as well. So I think the best chase here for Opera Singer is going to be the Alisu or the Mechanic.
So now we're going to be heading into the game with your caster Invisible Jong and Yashi. So let's skip ahead. Alright, we're going to be heading into the game. Dolly's will be dropping off the bot straight away. Let's see if he's able to conceal and hide the bot. Oh, it seems that the hunter here does not notice the bot. It's going to go straight for the mechanic, who fortunately for her is able to enter the first pallet, because if she doesn't get hit over there, this would be a disaster. But Dolly's here is kind of dangerously close towards the bot, so he has to take a hit and get away out there, or else he's going to be dying near the bot, means the bot cannot safely decode as well.
Yeah, he's still staying within this vicinity, so all of a sudden Dolisu actually decoding, just staying within the area, realizing that trying to kite longer is more important, but unfortunately long is not the answer here for Dolisu, as he's actually gonna get down, and it's very possible Opera Singer even sees the doll here, because it's just right within the vicinity. He's actually trying to find it, doesn't realize that it's just right behind that wall over there. We are gonna see Opera Singer is gonna be cheering Mechanic.
Oh, now he sees a bot, but he does not have the time to deal with it, because Knight is in the vicinity here, is able to get a nice like tactical foresight here, blocking off. And oh, goes for the swing there, with dangerously close there, is able to take a hit from the Opera Singer, which is definitely considered a win on her end. Oh, let's see, Mechanic. Unfortunately, the failed flywheel effect, and with that, the Mechanic will be going down, and he's actually going to be at the cipher near where Kazuneko is. And I think there's a bit of an error of rotation on the survivor's part, because we can see the Mechanic, or rather the Puppeteer decoding here, means that in early game, the Mechanic had nowhere to go, because he only has the graveyard to go, and he cannot cut at the back gate, or else he'll disrupt the Puppeteer's cipher. So as a result, the Mechanic just did not have a good chance to drag the bot away from the ciphers. A very daring move over here, goes for the blink hit and is able to gamble on the Puppeteer not reacting in time. So now there's a very bad situation, as we're going to be heading into another advert in the middle of an intense situation.
I'm really loving the advert timing here for us, as we are going to see Opera Singer is going to just basically lurk in the vicinity. He's realizing that there's tinnitus being given, but that's actually the Mechanic doll from a while ago. It's very funny for the Mechanic. This doll is not decoded until just now, as we are going to be seeing, they're going to be separating a bit here, as we are going to see that is officially game over here for Dolisu. And for them, they still need 3 more ciphers to make, and so that's going to be pretty important. They need to get this second kite here.
Yeah, 2.5 ciphers. So the next person, which is the Knight here, has to make the kite of his life, or else he will be in a very, or else the survivors will be in a very bad situation. And actually, a very good tactical foresight here, able to predict like and block off the ability. Unfortunately, not able to pull off like the shield though. As currently the Knight only have 1 more tactical foresight left, and this time is able to block off the Shadow Leap for a good 8 seconds, so this is going to definitely give the Knight a bit of kiting room, but he still has a lot more ground to cover, considering that they still need at least 2 ciphers.
Yeah, and he is making pretty good work on this, does force out the Shadow Dance, which kind of doesn't do well here for Sky's Hunter, but now all of a sudden Shinami, he needs to get this flywheel if he wants to kite any longer. He does get the flywheel. Unfortunately, he goes past the pallet there and cannot drop it down in time. And they do have progress on the ciphers, but still 3 full ciphers to do. Mechanic's doll is giving tinnitus as well, but I think he's finally realized it was Mechanic all this time trying to find that doll. Did not see it there, so I mean, this Mechanic doll being like, oh my god, he even opens the locker. I'm not sure if that was on accident. Still doesn't see the Mechanic doll. Maybe he doesn't really want to hit it because I mean, no one could actually take it other than Knight. So, I mean, for him, he doesn't really have to hit it immediately. Doesn't actually go for the hit on Hamitu there. So we are going to see Shinami going to be going to this area, just not going to be able to kite here as last effort pops.
Yeah, but there's actually a bit of wasted opportunity over there because just now when he Shadow dances back onto Hamatu's face, Hamatu already used both scales at that point, meaning that he could have just gotten a free swing, and now the Professor couldn't come to rescue, because now the Professor is in full health, meaning that he can still come in to rescue, and there is still a potential chance for the Knight to try and kite this one out for a bit. So that is definitely a bit of a misplay just now, also because he actually gave out like a free rescue while trying to find a mechanic spot over there. As we the Professor is coming in for another rescue, Kirin does not have any hardening skills, but here it's looking for trying to go for a farm here, force out both skills, and but in the midst of all that, he was trying to like not allow a farm that he failed to rescue. Like, that's one thing you should always take note while rescuing, is that if you want to drag it, you should make sure that you actually get the rescue off.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, CC is looking really dire here. Two survivors remaining, but they need a tie here to stay alive here. Kazaneko is now going to be getting chased. The puppeteer for the side of Team CC. Going to get the pallet drop. Doesn't go for the blink here. He actually had access to it. We are going to see Professor is going to be working on a new cipher as well. Does manage to get the Lewis there and spank an extra hit, but Kazaneko very much on the verge of getting down here.
Yeah, now you have no more things to work with, but for the Hunter here, the Hunter will be probably looking to down Kazaneko without the usage of Blink, because he still needed but Shadow dances into the wrong shadow, so this allowed Kazaneko to kite for even longer. But considering that the Hunter only needs like a 3-man elimination, maybe he can just play it safe and go for the Blink down here, and then just like down here and then just camp to win the game, which seems to be what is the case here, as the puppeteer is going to get chaired and the Professor can't, like, there's not much a Professor can really do, because in order to drag this in overtime, both survivors remaining have to escape. But the thing is that the opera singer already knows where the Professor is. The Professor is very, very far away from the chair, so what the Professor can do is very limited, even if opera singer misses the dash over here.
Yep, we are going to be seeing here Opera Singer immediately warped already to Professor, and now he's right here. He finally finds the mechanic doll he's been finding all game, and we are going to see he actually downs it. He realizes he doesn't really need to do anything, but actually Hamitu going closer and closer to this chair, still has some scales to work with as well. He does not want to give that rescue for the side of Team CC, because all of a sudden that might actually give them the opportunity to potentially go for the win. But Hamitu actually going all the way further towards the towards the puppeteer, and he unfortunately gets terror shocked here, and that's gonna be Sky getting the 4K and qualifying.
Yeah, like definitely one of the most fatal part is that for Team CC is that they picked the mechanic and it did not work in their favor, because their rotations probably had some problems, seeing that after the mechanic dropped the ball in the middle, he was forced to kite around the graveyard and then in the middle, meaning that he never really had the opportunity to bring the bot away. So maybe spawning the mechanic at that position was not the best. Maybe they could have considered spawning the mechanic at the shack, where there are more places for the mechanic to try and hide the bot and kite away. Because in the end, the mechanic had nowhere to kite as the back gate was occupied and the graveyard's pallets were exhausted, meaning that he ended up going down near the bot, which negated the whole purpose of bringing the mechanic bot in the first place.
Yep, and now once again, Sky does qualify here with that win. And for the side of Team CC, our dear Theta 0.5s, they do still have a chance here. 2 more chances to get 1 win. So not over for them just yet. And we're actually going to be seeing in the next 2 matches, HLT2 GT and LSES, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. They're also going to be getting a 2-1 record by the end of today.
Adverts.
To tie up. with FCMN and CC, as we're gonna be seeing an advert. I've never seen this ad like game before. I'm gonna be real. Skip it, man, my boy. The skip button's right there.
All
As we
right.
are gonna be seeing HLT. Oh wait, we'll start with 2GT. I think 2GT is a bit behind. Just go back a bit.
No.
Oh, I tripped.
Go
Okay, it
ahead.
seems as if. Alright, we are we seeing here. HLT, we're pretty familiar with this team already. Dodge, Glucose Frost 1, Missouri, and Lady Jaw. I mean, we're pretty familiar with Dodge, Glucose as well to an extent, and also these other three Frost 1, Missouri, and Lady Jaw who have been playing in this tournament and have helped HLT get that 2-1.
All right. For 2GT here, we have Hibari, GGWNYX, Wonfu, HG Tolesu, BHW and Yosei here to add up for 2GT lineup, as both teams are currently in 1-1 at this point of time. And after this match, one team will advance to 2-1 and one team will advance to 1-2. And in 1-1, this is where matches get very important because 2-1 and 1-2 means literally heaven and hell, seeing that in 2-1 you only need to win one out of the next two matches, but for 1-2 you have to win the next two matches or else you're out. And both teams definitely don't want to put themselves in a bad situation of where they must win the next two matches, as we're going to be heading into the Chinatown, as HLT will be banning the Seer right off the bat.
Yep, it seems as if for their side or for 2GT's side, they're already hovering on that priestess, and seems as if first officer, and that's actually going to be immediate picks on the side of 2GT. First officer, pretty safe rescuer, especially in a region like Southeast Asia. Not everyone's immediately picking up the Goatman, so going for a stronger Goatman counter like Gravekeeper may be risky if the Hunter's going to play something else. Priestess is also just pretty decent against non-meta characters and pretty decent against Goatman as well. We are going to see Puppeteer is going to be the next man here for this side of HLT.
Yep. So probably they just want to get the more tankier survivors out of the way. Because one thing in this meta is that it's like the opera singer, Goatman, and Hula Baloo have such strong chasing abilities that survivors of items in theory doesn't kite that well against them. So they're probably going to be needing needing more tankier survivor, which is the Puppeteer. Though with the Fire Investigator and Embalmer, I feel like both Hula Baloo and Goatman are going to work here, but they do have the Priestess as a potential caution against the Goatman, and also the First Officer as a caution against the Hula Baloo. So let's see who will be Frost One be selecting over here.
Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty solid team for a lot of cases. I mean, it doesn't counter Goatman and Hullabaloo as much as they would want it to counter, but in general, even whatever really they pick here for the side of HLT, this is a composition that kind of works well against most cases, right? So we are going to be seeing here, y'all say, on the First Officer, NYX Priestess, Toresu, Fire Investigator, IP, or 1PHU on the Embalmer. And one thing to note between these two teams is they kind of went through different paths. We saw 2GT lost the first game and come back right after beating WB. Meanwhile, for HLT, we saw them win the first game, but they eventually lost to Team CC, who we just saw a while ago, as we are going to see they are actually going to be picking up the Goatman here.
Yeah, Goatman actually is like, does make sense. Goatman deals with the Investigator, deals with the Embalmer, and also deals with the First Officer. Because, like, as I've mentioned multiple times by now, you can stay outside of range of the Pocket Watch, of the Poseidon Watch, drop an enclosure cage onto them, and appear behind them and get a hit on them instantly before the First Officer even has a chance to use his Poseidon Watch. Like, that's entirely possible here, so this First Officer will also have to be careful because in theory, he is also possible to get chased. Probably the Priestess is the only one in this team comp that can stand a bit of chance if the Goatman's cages does not like seal off all the walls.
You're going to be going for a pretty standard spawn against the Goatman here, going for this T pose-ish thing. As we are going to see, one's going to also spawn. I actually can't say that's restaurant anymore. They changed the name apparently, right? Because like in the game, Restaurant is what we know as hotel or reception. But for OG players, restaurant is the one where first officer actually spawned.
Yeah,
But we are going to be seeing Frost One, HLT's Hunter, going to be spawning at the top left corner,
yeah.
right beside Yosei and I1PHU, and Balmer definitely the chase for Goatman here.
Oh yeah. First of all, restaurant as like I'm a Chinese player and I can tell you that for the restaurant we normally refer to where Yosei is right now, which is the one where the dungeon spawns at, and it has always been hotel for the 2 story. But anyways, moving on, looking at this team comp here, both Embalmer and the first officer are possible to get first chase here, as if the Goatman is skilled enough, or even the Goatman can just like hold his cage. He doesn't necessarily have to drop it, hold his cage and approach the first officer, and then the first officer will be forced to use the pocket watch, because if he tries to hold it, if like the first officer tries to hold the Poseidon watch, he would definitely be risk of getting jump scared and get a hit.
Yep, and we are going to be seeing here two GT survivors up against HLT Hunter. I do wonder what is Goldman going to be chasing here as we're heading right into this match. Frost One heading towards the Embalmer's direction, who immediately drops the coffin here. Frost One doesn't realize that he's actually double backed on him, as now HBHU has access to the pallets within the vicinity. Does seem as if the cage is going to cut him off, though.
Yeah, but he oh, goes through the cage. Let's see, where does this one go to? Oh, barely able to vault through the pallet over there. I'm not sure if that's planned or not, but that is a very good job there, evading a hit, forcing the Goatman to use another cage, and currently the Goatman is low in resentment level, so you definitely have to wait out a bit, and the Embalmer kiting out the first cage was definitely like a very nice play there, because now, for a bit of a time, Frost One cannot do much and just walk around, and he only has one more cage chance to down this Embalmer, or else this may be a huge disaster.
Yeah, he's going to be blocking this pallet, though, and he does actually get to the other pallet, so this is huge on the side of Embalmer, but no! Frost One actually going towards the other side, and all of a sudden, the ciphers are around 60%. I believe that is abnormal. It looks a little blurry to me here.
It is abnormal.
On my stream, so he is also going to be able to pressure Yosei Cypher here, or even NYX if he considers using a cage to go all the way over there, but I think he's going to probably use the abnormal here, as Embalmer is actually going to be using the coffin.
Yeah, but one thing that I've just realized is that Embalmer never really kites away from the cage, so maybe using the coffin to respawn here is not the best choice, considering that the Goatman is right next to him without, like the Goatman is right next to him without even using any cages, and yep, let's skip ahead of the adverts. But back to what I was trying to say, is that maybe they should not have used the coffin this time around, seeing that the cage is right nearby. They could have rescued with Tide Turner, have the Embalmer run further away, then the Goatman will be forced to use the resentment level cages to get close towards the Embalmer, rather than having the Goatman walk right next to it.
Yeah, and Priestess was also within the vicinity, so the distance could have been even more significant if they decided not to immediately use Coffin. Instead, here we are seeing Priestess completely on the other side of the map, with Nor portals prepared here for the side of Embalmer, as first officer now going to be going for this rescue here.
Yup. Oh, with that, the rescue is going to be in play here, and the Embalmer probably cannot kite for long because he had no more items and no more flout effects, so Embalmer will be sent back to the manor soon, and this is not looking good for the survivors, considering that they still have near 2 whole ciphers remaining, so the next survivor getting kited will have to make the kite of their life, but both the first officer and the fire investigator in theory are not the best against the Goatman.
One good news, though, is that this Embalmer died pretty far from the ciphers, as they're going to be healing the first officer here. Fire investigator, he's realizing he doesn't want to immediately get chased here by Frost One, so he's not staying within the cipher. But Torres is still within this vicinity. And sooner or later, Frost One's actually going to get the Tinnitus here. So we are going to be seeing NYX is already decoding his cipher once again after that heal. Abnormal does come into play. That puts the cipher all the way down to 22%. Which is really bad for the side of the survivors here. Tries to use the ball, but messes up completely there. And now all of a sudden, 90 resentment here uses the backstep. Toresu, 1 pallet to play here. We are going to see he's just going to block it as well. Toresu does get the flywheel, tries to go through the cage here. Unfortunately, he still goes down, and they still have 2 full ciphers to make. In fact, 3 more, considering that the cipher that Priestess was creating is not yet done.
Yeah, talk about adding salt into the wound just now with the puppeteer, or rather the first office, the fire investigator going on that fast. Because the thing, as I noted, fire investigator is not the best against the Goatman, and also there was a bit of misplay on like with the airbag. So first officer going for rescue, but there is a chance that he could not make it or double down. Let's see what will happen. Though the fortunate news is the first officer is still alive, but the fire investigator will instantly get chaired, and Frost 1 is hungry for more here. Yosei cannot afford to go down here because he has to survive, and it seems likely that Frost 1 will not be able to get the head through this cage. But then again, the advantage he has currently is just too significant that this missed hit would not matter too much, as we can see that Frost 1 will be chairing Tolesu right next to the decoded ciphers, forcing the survivors to scatter as they still have one whole cipher remaining.
Yep, and the cipher here at the middle can even get abnormal once again, as NYX already has made his way towards this chair here. We are going to see he's already put a cage towards Priestess already put a portal for Toresu to potentially go through, as we are going to see NYX going to be taking the hit. Toresu going to be trying to make his way towards this
double back
portal as soon as possible.
Well, actually, just now Tolesu actually managed to double back, which is a very nice play, as Frost 1 there did not predict it. So actually currently the survivors brought back a bit of momentum, seeing that Frost 1 lost sight of the fire investigator, so the priestess here will be taking the kite, but still have one more portal, and with that, the priestess countered it by escaping outside the cage. But then again, now, with still resentment level remaining, the priestess is just looking to kite this one more cage. Flower effect, can she make it count? Yes, able to make it count, and Ghostman currently just have no more cages, and that is really the effect of the nerf coming in, as Frost 1 here will be trying to get the priestess down, and is able to. But with this series of events, the survivors definitely got back some of their lost time.
Yeah, but now everyone's still injured, plus they don't have another cipher here. Torasu is going to be going back to the cipher he was decoding a bit in the middle game. So we are going to see Yosei going to be trying to finish the cipher, but that means he's exposing his position here to the side of Frost 1. Wait a second, first officer, what is he doing here? He's going to be getting caught by the Goatman, and all of a sudden he goes down.
Yeah, the first officer probably was trying to hide and prop Tinnitus, but he probably propped a bit too close, seeing that he ended up getting busted by Frost 1 here, and the fire investigator, only survivor remaining. Frost 1 does not know where he is, but Frost 1 doesn't need to know, as he can just stand by at the chair, as the first officer will not be able to rescue. But seems that here Frost 1 is walking a bit too far, as fire investigator is going for it, and maybe that's not the best move, as fire investigator is approaching, and Frost 1 here cannot do much, and just watch both of them get away.
We are going to be seeing here Toresu needs to kite a bit longer here, but unfortunately he might just go down. No, wait a second, the portal coming in clutch. NYX as well within the vicinity. I do not know if he has another portal. He has another portal, but a bit of a mess up there on the side of NYX. He does manage to take a chip hit instead, but one more cage here. He's going to actually take another hit. And did he hit the chair there? Oh.
Yeah, he hit the chair, and then he used Abnormal to swap into Blank over here. So with that, the priestess is gonna go down, and yeah, like right now, the good news for the survivors is that there are no more Abnormal and no teleport. But the bad news is that the survivors still recover for this, and Frost 1 wants to go for the prediction location, and is able to predict. The fire investigator appears right behind him, a very well timed cage, but the priestess is back up alive, and little did the priestess know is that Frost 1 has very low resentment levels, so the priestess should go for it though, and now realize that it's going to have a mind game bit here. If he waits for too long, this would be a whole different story. So now the rescue is going to come into play here. So let's see if Frost 1 can get anyone down. Getting both of them, anyone down is fine, because per my memory, I think I'm not sure if the priestess is dead on chair, but the first officer is definitely dead on chair. Okay, it's dead on chair.
Yeah, and I mean, they've been doing a pretty good job there, but the problem with all of that is, like, nobody was basically decoding that entire series of events. Is now Priestess officially goes down, fire investigator used his self-heal, so this is looking more and more like a 4K here for Frost 1. Yosei gonna try to kite his life as first Fire Investigator tries to find a new cipher here. Actually goes back to the middle cipher, and we are gonna see here is able to kite for a bit longer, but unfortunately down he goes. And keep in mind, Toresu, the Fire Investigator here, does no longer has the self heal, as we are gonna see he's actually gonna be able to break this cage here.
Yeah, Fire Investigator has no more exit path to work with, though. So now Fire Investigator is looking to last as long as possible to make this one count. But can he though? Because there is always that trick there where you can appear the other side of the pallet. And oh, but this cage on the Goatman's part was a bit misplaced because he could block off that pallet entirely. And with that, the Fire Investigator is able to kite out the cage, but first officer also has nowhere to run, and now with exit path gone from the first officer and Goatman knowing where the Fire Investigator is, this might potentially be game. Of the Fire Investigator right now is just trying to play hide and seek with the Hunter, and let's see how good is Frost One's perception is, and can he know where the Tolesu went?
We are gonna see here Toresu is just basically walking his way here, trying to stall more time. We do know for a fact the dungeon is within Toresu's reach here. He also has Flywheel and I believe a ball to work with, but now Frost, when making the daring play, finally sees the Fire Investigator, and it seems as if this is going to be over. Toresu tries to use the Flywheel and puts the ball down, unfortunately, but too late as Blink comes in, and now that is going to be, I believe, 4K for Frost One, unless somehow Yosei secretly just crawls to dungeon here.
There's no way. The dungeon is literally right next to where Frost One is, and Frost One knows where the Yosei would. Yeah, so with that, this would be a format elimination from Team HLT, meaning that for the pressures on 2GT's Hunter to do the same. And honestly, I would just say that for this game specifically, the Embalmer coffin play would ended up not being sufficient, seeing that the coffin was right near the chair. And also, really, the first down was just way too fast for them to even recover from.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, 2GT is pressured here to try and 4K back, as we are going to be seeing an advertisement once again. Please get a ad blocker, /half joking, not really sure anymore.
Yeah, I'll get an ad. I'll get an ad blocker after this stream. Because it's just getting on my nerves. He body
here from the side of PGC, spamming this here. Once again, he has to get the fourth feature, as we already see from the side of HLT. Fire first.
Your mic is a bit weird.
Yeah, I'm fixing it real quick.
Yeah, probably because you're moving it around, lol. Anyways, so I'll take over for now. So, seeing that HLT is already having a 5-point lead, so for Team HLT here, they probably just need to play very as safe as possible, and probably they can select the Embalmer, because the Embalmer is the king of the one-man escape, as everyone knows. But we're going to be seeing the Magician, and actually one thing to note, I actually said that with Sin Yashi, is that Magician actually very came back in the meta, because he's like a very decent kiter. He works decent against Hula Baloo, and for Goatman, he can actually use his illusions to last out the cage. We actually seen that play quite a bit in IJL, so I am very excited, and we are seeing the Gardener as last. So I think the plan for HLT here is having both the Magician and the Gardener, both decent kiters. They want to make sure that whoever gets found first does not go down too fast, and the advantage of this is that the first down being a decent amount of time, that's more likely to have enough ciphers to work with.
Yep, and this is one thing, as I think I mentioned as well, Magician has become a pretty common character in the BO1s for IJL, and I think part of the reason is he does pretty well against Goatman without giving up too much, unlike a character like Perfumer, where a character like Ivy could just be super problematic for him. A character like even Hullabaloo is pretty problematic for Perfumer. This isn't really the case with Magician, because Magician's item or magic wand is a lot more flexible, but screw all that. We're going to be seeing a Hermit on the side of 2GT. RC Aka in the flesh?
Yeah, let's try not to talk too much about IGL teams. But anyways, Hermit against this. Actually, I think this is a decent one because the thing here is that Antiquarian might get stunned with the Hermit's miracle ability, and also the Magician, while using his illusions, there's a possibility that the Magician will get stunned during the illusion state, and also the first officer might also get stunned as well. So if Hibari is very accurate with his electro balls and how well he uses his miracle ability, then in theory these survivors might be getting hits during while using their like items. So I'm very excited to see because Hermit in theory is definitely like works, but there is a reason why we don't see a lot of Hermit because I've said this with Sin a couple of times. Hermit is very high risk, high reward. It is a type of hunter, either you get everything or you get nothing.
To be fair here for the side of 2GT, they do need a 4K, so an everything or nothing hunter is exactly what they need if they want to potentially get this 4K. And you have mentioned in this team composition, it's not too bad here for the side of Herman. In fact, it may be even advantageous for him because their items can still be countered by the fact that Hunter can just stun them away. As we are going to see, he actually does spawn here right beside Gaja, on top of Gaja actually. And we are going to be seeing heading into this match, 2GT needs to 4K if they want to keep their dreams alive and not fall into that 1-2 deficit that's super risky here. And for HLT, even a single escape is going to be enough.
Yeah. Alright, we're going to be heading into the game straight away. And another thing that I wanted to note is that in this team comp specifically, they have no survivors to regen, so this might be a bit of a problem if too many people takes damage, but this will be depending on how fast can the Hermit get a hit, as he's going to be going after the first officer first, as I note that first officer can also get chased. It's going to get stunned straight away, and it's going to take the hit straight away, which we're talking about only 30 seconds into the game, and we already having shared damage. The officer here will have to find a chance and use the Poseidon Watch here, or else he might end up getting everyone else injured.
Yeah, decided not to use the Poseidon Watch that he hasn't, because he hasn't gotten a polarity yet. But I do think he should consider using it now here, as we are going to see Insolence comes into play. An unfortunate miss there for Hibari, but super close actually, as we are going to see does manage to get the hit on the Poseidon Watch. Huge for Hibari because that actually means he hasn't used his skill yet.
Yup, but he decided to switch because the first officer is on 1.3 health, meaning he can still take 2 hits regardless. And this is going to be going after Glucose, who is able to use a flywheel effect here and illusion to extend this kite out a bit though. So Glucose here does not want to go down too fast because with multiple people damage at the same time, they definitely do not want too many people here. And with that hit, we have 3 survivors on half health, and it's going to be going for the warp here though. And Glucose still has 2 more illusions to work with, and he may have to use it to get out of this narrow area.
Yeah, we are going to see here tries to use their... Yeah, we are going to see... Oh, he does actually get the hit through the wand there. And that's going to actually be a down on Glucose. Ciphers are pretty decent, but this is a Hermit we are talking about. And we do know for a fact that Hibari already max presence as well.
Yeah, unfortunately getting hit during the second illusion there was definitely not an ideal situation. First officer is actually going to get stunned midway, and he'll be forced to be rescued relatively early. The one saving grace is that with the Magician's ability, Magician can potentially rebound kite, so let's see, can he make this count though? But unfortunately, Glucose, or rather the Hunter knows where he is, but unfortunately he's going to teleport onto the stair there, so this is going to be giving Glucose more rebound room.
Yeah, we are going to see here, Glucose tries to use a wand there, unfortunately, still gets the polarity. Now, he's going to go for the jump. He manages to get it, but first officer manages to save him right on time here. And we are going to see Dodge has red polarity. I wonder if he's going to go for it too, though he can switch it. He's going to just stick to the blue instead, which is interesting, as we are going to see that is going to be the down on Glucose once again.
Yeah, that's a very, very good usage of Miracle by the Hermit over there. There are some very accurate stuns, and looking back, just look at the Cypher progress. Currently, adding together, they're only 3 like 3.5 in total. The magicians are already on the last chair, and considering that this is a hermit, meaning that the survivors decoding are much slower than before, so this is a whole different story, and the survivors definitely will be trying to like make this one last over here. As the Antiquarian goes for all 3 swipes, but missing all of them, and that is actually like a not less than ideal situation, because now the magician, like in theory, might not able to last for too long.
Yeah, and he does have warp to potentially use here if ever Glucose tries to make a lot of distance. But it does seem as if he's finally seen him. He is going to be using the warp. As I've said, he is going to put blue polarity. Wonder if anyone's going to switch. We do see Gardener make the switch there. So he is going to be able to tank one more hit. That is going to be a hit there, though, on the side of Magician. As we are going to see Magician now just one more chip away. He does get red polarity, so First Officer is going to take a chip as well. As now 2 players are injured. Actually, 3 with Antiquarian getting healed. This is going to be down and go out of the manor here for the Magician.
Yeah, this is what I was trying to talk about before the game, is that the thing is that with all 3 survivors not having the ability to heal each other, having the ability to regen, is now going to be haunting them massively, because with so many people injured, they can never like really keep themselves all alive, and now the Antiquarian will be going down over there, and now that is very bad considering that they still need one whole cipher, and both the First Officer and the Gardener don't really have a chance to heal. Like that's the thing against Hermit, is that you do not want to give out early hits, because early game the First Officer giving out early hits, and then the Magician missing 1 hit, and those 2 hits adding together are very fatal and snowballing in this situation.
Yeah, I mean, he's immediately already even made the play here. He's actually going to even give First Officer a chance to maybe go for the rescue here, as he's now going to lock in on this. Gardener does manage to get the jump right on her, and that's going to be a down immediately. I wonder if First Officer is going to get the rescue on time. Unfortunately, he does get the rescue, but that's going to be after half, so Ganjay just 1 more down away from being sent to the manor, and Hibari here doing God's work here, playing for the 4K, which is exactly what they need. Antiquarian does manage to get the polarity, but Hibari immediately notices, and now he's going to head right into it. He misses the sticks once again. This has been a common theme here for this Antiquarian. That's going to be out of the manor here for Ganjay, as now 2 survivors remain on the manor.
Yeah, just now Hibari stopped and put down because he wanted to wait and see if the survivors rescue first, because if the survivors chose not to rescue and he chaired, then there's a chance for the First Officer to make it out through the dungeon, which Hibari does not want. So right now, with 2 survivors remaining, this is a very good situation, and it's more than likely for Hibari to get a 4-man elimination, unless the 2 remaining survivors manage to coordinate with the bleedings and stuff. But First Officer, Lady Ja getting spot over here, so Lady Ja is going to have to take the kite with only 1 perfume to work with, and he must kite a whole cipher, which is going to be very difficult here, Nyashi.
Yeah, not just a whole cipher, basically a whole 3 ciphers with the way Hermit works here. And we are going to see he uses already the perfume, but unfortunately to no avail. 1 cipher remaining here for the side of Team HLT, and we are going to see, I believe, did he disconnect the connection? I'm not sure. I didn't see it properly, but we are going to see here, I think he's going to be going for the, he's going to immediately just jump here, try to make some distance. Lady Ja 1 more hit away, and we are going to see red polarity, though. So I believe they're still going to be able to tank 1 more hit. Teleport is going to be up here for 5 seconds, so very, very close here for Hibari to potentially get the down.
Yeah, but Hibari is in no hurry, because he can always just use his ability to check the cipher progress so that he knows when to teleport when the ciphers are close enough, though. Oh, let's see, going to be playing around here, trying to get the down. First Officer trying to stay alive, but the thing is that it's going to be very hard to get 1 man out of the situation unless the survivors manage to play hide and seek very well. But currently the ciphers is already at 70%, so maybe the Hermit will have to consider to teleport, as you definitely do not want the cipher in too much high progress, as Lady Ja did manage to cut out quite a bit of time.
Yeah, but unfortunately here for the side of First Officer, he is officially going to go down, and Hibari deciding not to teleport. He finally does, though, as we are going to see here Missouri needs to kite very long, even then it's 12-9 on her end. So even if first officer gets that cipher prime, they can't immediately pop it. We are going to see here he's going to be going as far away from the cipher as possible. Will Flywheel come out? Flywheel does come out, but a second stun there for the side of Hibari. Misses the hit, unfortunately, but this is still going to be a down on the side of Hibari, and now he's going to be going back right to the cipher.
Yeah, like currently, I think the play for the survivors is to try and get themselves in a two like about to bleed to death situation, and so that they can have one more escape the dungeon. Because we've seen that play in IPL and IJL, and we've seen it successfully used by IPL in the past. But now with Lady Ja here getting found Lady Ja will probably be down very soon. So the gardener here, like, definitely cannot touch the ciphers anymore. The gardener's correct play will be trying to like get a syringe and use it to like make sure that she never has any crowds appear on her. Because if she continues to decode the cipher, it will just only be time before he gets found. Like, even if the ciphers are connected, he still need to be decoded like a very long amount of time before the ciphers are done.
Yep, we are going to be seeing. We are going to be seeing here Lady Jaw going down here. That means that Misseri needs to last as long as possible. But with a red charge, the question is it even possible here? He is going to be going towards this 2-story here, and Hibari does get tinnitus. I wonder if he's figured it out. Going to the corner here, seeing if he's hiding within this vicinity. Gardner using a bubble out of nowhere here, as he's actually making away or going away from the hunter, and Hibari seems to have not noticed, but now he's finally heading towards the direction of this gardener.
Oh, goes for a teleport, wants to try and predict the location. Is able to predict though, attachment's gonna be into play here. The ciphers are beyond enough. And remember, Gardener is the only one with exit path remaining, so as soon as the Gardener goes down, this will be game, and Hibari managing to do the unthinkable here and returning the format elimination. And actually, now that if we think about it, back at the early game, the first officer taking the first hit. After taking the first hit, the first officer definitely should have used the watch before he even had a charge on him, because like if he did that, then the hermit would never have an idea on where the first officer went, and it would be much harder for the first officer to get hit. Like, if using the charge, like if he uses the watch after he got a charge on him, then if he gets hit, he'll be risk on damaging survivors on the outside, which is going to be bringing everyone down.
Yep, and now 2GT getting that 4K gives themselves some breathing room, as they are going to go into, I believe, extra round or overtime rather, and this is an opportunity for them to potentially get the win, but also still a chance for AHLT to do just that.
Yup, because currently both teams 5-5. We're gonna have an extra time, and oh my goodness, you two must know that I'm hungry. Haha.
I'm also very hungry, so I think they both know. They know we're both hungry, as we are going to see 2GT. Sirban, I believe this is the first time I actually commentated for an overtime match this tournament, as we are going to see Shadow Pan on the side of HLT. They do not want to deal with pressure hunters anymore after the debacle that was the Hermit match. It seems as if for them, they're also considering the Archer. No more antiquarian, so we're not going to see those missed swipes, but they still want to have a chance at being able to at least give some support to potentially turn tie situations into wins there with that pick.
Yeah, because one thing that we should notice is that this is overtime. And in overtime, in the event of both teams getting a tie, what would happen is that we're going to be taking a look at the time it took for the survivors to escape. So in those situations, hunters that can stall for time, aka the Shadow, Clerk, Wax Artist, these are more preferable hunters in overtime, because these hunters have the ability to stall for time, which in this situation is going to be like very useful. So that is probably why we see HLT got rid of the Shadow straight away, as they're going to be seeing Archer and Magician and Gravekeeper be making the appearance. So this is currently like a relatively more decodish team comp and a well-rounded team comp. And let's see what survivor would they ban. But if time is in the matter, maybe the last pick on HLT survivor would be a prisoner.
Yeah, and they could also, I believe, pick mechanic here actually on the side of HLT if they want to go the character that deals better or fares better against the Goldman and Baloo. But no, seems as if they're going to be going for the airplanist. So for HLT, I think they're trying to aim for the win here. They don't want to go for a tie. They don't want to go for. They don't want to lose, of course, right? And so they wanted to give themselves an opportunity to kite as much as possible, even if it means risking that timer for their side and hoping that for HLT's Hunter they actually still get or secure a tie or even get that 4K that they would need.
Uh-huh. So we're seeing airplanes. Currently, I'm just trying to think what hunters we're potentially seeing here. Like, first of all, there's always the Goatman and the Hula Baloo. Like, the hunters that can get 4-man elimination very fast, because if you get a 4-man, then time doesn't matter necessarily. And they're also stalling hunters, which we have Wax Artist, Clerk, um, or maybe more or less Peddler can stall for a bit too.
Yes, peddler, please. I'm sorry.
But no. Peddler Cipher Lock only like works in a very small range, so probably not her.
All right, but yeah, I mean, still a lot of options. I feel like he should just go for the meta option. Try to get the 4K. I mean, that's always going to be the safest bet, right, for you as a hunter, and that's going to be the case here. That is three times now I've guessed the hunter right before they picked it. So Goldman, it does seem as if it's a pretty reasonable pick here for 2GT. They want to be playing for the win, and plus, it's the most meta out there. If you want to slow down the ciphers, abnormal, and even peepers is also available for you to pick instead of going for that blink here.
Uh-huh. So yeah, like Ghostman pick makes sense because one thing that we should recall is that like yes, time does matter, but if you get a 4-man, then you don't necessarily need to stall. So looking at this team comp over here, actually, like I've seen the IGL matchup, a magician in theory can try and kite the Goatman in this meta. So for Hibari here, his best option is to go for God J and God J's aeroplanist, or maybe even the archer, because the archer has to look backwards when she is firing, and this may cause her to like bump into a wall, especially inside the cages.
Yeah, and for God J here, this is a chance to redeem himself. We saw in an antiquarian match, seems that he's playing pretty off actually, a lot of misses on his end. Now that he's on the aeroplane this here, God J needs to if he does get chased, God J needs to kind of try and prove himself here. Once again, Glucose is still very chaseable if he wants to, but again, Magician is pretty decent against Goatman, and Archer is as well, but Archer is distant pretty distant away, and if they make the right calls, Archer could also get a chance to head right into the graveyard. As we are going to see Hibari going to be going through the middle, as Misori is actually going to be heading towards the 11 power.
Yeah, Gravekeeper going to be using the shovel straight away because he does not want to get jump scared, and that is the pressure that a Goatman can give towards the survivor. But he's going to be heading straight into the archer as we talked about before the game. But it seems that this like first cage was a bit of a miss, or maybe the first cage was to get the Goatman, or rather the Gravekeeper entirely. But would that be the best thing though? Because the thing is that even if he gets it down now, the Gravekeeper will always have the next shovel to work with. So with that, yes, the Gravekeeper is in half health, but we're going to be heading into an advert once again. And what I was trying to say just now is that for the Goatman, he can just, or the Gravekeeper, he can just wait until the Goatman uses the next cage and drops another shovel, and this will be a lot of time wasted as the Goatman will be forced to break the pallet in the middle.
Yep, and I feel like he's not even going to be able to get the hit on the cage here. So Hibari wasting a bit of time here. He does have a normal, so I wonder when he'll consider using it. He does need to get this down very soon, though, if he wants to even have a chance at using it. He may consider switching to Missouri. I would personally consider potentially going to Missouri, stopping him from the coding, and get the abnormal here. Tries to go for the hit, but unfortunately misses here. Lady Jaw going to be able to go through the through the cage once again, and he actually kites that right on time. This abnormal is looking pretty useless because he still hasn't decided to use it. He is going to try to go for the down here, and he does get the down, but I mean, they're going to be popping the cipher before he's used this abnormal, so I mean, this abnormal has been kind of a dud trait so far.
Yeah, because because like Hibari chasing one of the tankiest survivors in the game, I don't think is necessarily the best. And second of all, he did have the opportunity to down the Gravekeeper, but just now he had like one or two missed swings, which gave like the Gravekeeper 1 or 2 seconds he needed to like get the ciphers enough. And Abnormal was probably trying to like stall for time and make sure they cannot decode, but this is not working in their favor right now. Is that even if he's gonna get the farm off the chair, have the Abnormal not being used means that the time being stalled for this game would not be a lot, and maybe just for this game it would be more fatal as the ciphers would be like enough eventually comparing to Abnormaling it.
Yeah, and we are gonna see here. I believe it's like Gajay opening actually a chest there. I'm not sure if I'm seeing that proper. I think he was. We are gonna see Gajay actually does get wanted order. This does seem as if this is the best case scenario for the side of Hibari here. But keep in mind, he still has three rockets to use. He's going to be immediately trying to use it, but unfortunately Gajay messes up there. He does mess up the cage, unfortunately, and Gajay's the one who's going down, not Lady Ja. He's going to try to use one more cage here, and he needs to get this down soon. Cypher's are at 70. He does block off the pallet here, and he does manage to get that down, but I mean, at this point, he's not able to stall enough time. He will be chairing Gajay here for sure, who doesn't actually have doesn't have the borrowed time, so still a chance for Hibari to play for even more points.
Yeah, but actually here he's going to be going after the archer, because I think right now Hibari wants to like stall for more time here. Though the risk of doing that is that there is a possibility for him to get tied, comparing to if he just tried to get the farm of the archer, or rather airplane as he could have gotten for a free man. And that was the 100 laceration with the goatman, or with the archer. And in theory, the archer can probably stall another cage from the goatman. And so let's see if this cage is going to matter. Hibari must down the archer at this cage, or else this is going to be a tie, and in a very fast time indeed. But it seems unlikely for him to down the archer fast enough, so this is likely going to be a tie very fast into the game here.
Yeah, we are going to see here. I wonder if Archer's going to try to go for a tree escape, or whether they should just surrender here. I feel like Missouri should just surrender. It's pretty hard to get the tie here, but all this wait a second here. Missouri's actually closing in towards the dungeon here. He may even get the tree escape here. Does not get 100 here, but he's going to go for the flywheel, and all of a sudden he even gets dungeon, and that's a tree escape on the side of HLT. This might be the final blow for 2GT here.
Yeah, that free escape was very fatal over there. I honestly, looking back, I understand that the Goldman was trying to stall for more time, but was teleporting really the best decision? Because he definitely knows that the airplaners had no borrowed time. Here's the thing. He already used Tide Turner, he saw him use Flywheel effect, then it might be better than teleporting at the long side, because that was an archer in full health. Even if you use the cage to get half health, they could just pop it. And we can see endgame that Archer did an amazing job with the arrows, getting a hit on the Goatman, meaning that the Goatman cannot backstab his way onto the other side of the cage, or else it will hit 100 laceration. So that was amazing performance from the Archer endgame, stalling for time. And with a free escape in such a short period of time, the pressure is on 2GT's Survivor.
Yeah, this is a situation that 2GT does not want to be in, especially since they did just get 4K'd a while ago, and all of a sudden, all momentum has swinged on HLT's side. 2GT needs to play aggressive this game, and even if they do, the thing that you have to remember is that HLT not only got this tree escape, but it was in relatively fast fashion as well, so 2GT has to play such a dominant Survivor match to even have a chance at escaping, not only tree escaping, but even escaping faster than HLT.
Yeah, so this is definitely not looking good for HLT. Or rather for 2GT over here, as we're going to be heading into the second half, and right now things are looking for very, very good for HLT, because here the hunter only needs to take a tie or a free escape in a reasonable amount of time, because just now, per my memory, it was around 5. Let's see. Okay, around less than 5 minutes. So as long as he here HLT's Hunter Frost 1 gets a tie or stalls gets a one-man elimination in like more than 4 minutes and 40 seconds, it's going to be enough. And in theory, it should not be that hard.
Yeah, I mean, he has so much options here for hunters. I mean, he could use Wax Artist, he can use Anne even to an extent. He can literally just use a lot of characters. I think Wax Artist might be his best choice. He can block a Cypher with Wax Artist, which can stall a bit of time. He also just has a lot of ways to deal with with any sort of harassers, which is usually a character that you'd use in a tree escape scenario. But we are seeing here for the side of 2GT, they're going Mercenary Airplanes Acrobat. I do think they need a decoder in this team composition if they even want to have a shot here, because they need to be decoding even faster than to what I call this then HLT survivors. We are going to see a psychologist here, and actually just a note as well, we do see that HLT banned novelists likely to avoid a potential for escape or a tie turning into a true escape.
Uh-huh. So yeah, but one thing to note is that, as you mentioned, Nyashi, is that with this team comp, they do not have any decoders, but considering that 2GT needs to free escape in a very, very fast amount of time, this may be like an even larger challenge for them. As we're waiting on HLT's Hunter pick, and HLT already, like, he does not have Ghostman, he does not have Hulabaloo, he can go for the Shadow here because the Shadow can stall for a lot of time. And as soon as she has full presence endgame, then she can teleport, use the like 140 corruption teleport to secure a one-man elimination, or the Opera Singer to play for a tie, or even the Wax Artist or Disciple. But goes for the Wax Artist here. So I think for Frost 1, his goal is to take a tie, because if we look at the Opera Singer, because for this team comp specifically, no one here can really kite the Opera Singer for an extended amount of time. Like for this team comp, I feel like it's definitely possible to take a tie on them, but if you need a free man escape, it will be very hard.
Yeah, and I mean, Opera Singer is pretty interesting. I think this is more of a comfort pick rather than one that they just felt like was the best pick in the moment. I do think that it's very, like, Opera Singer is very kiteable, or they could kite Opera Singer here, and that's going to be huge on their end, but a single early down, and they're already at a pretty bad position.
Yup, they are in a very bad position indeed. So the pressure is all on the survivors, because Frost 1 right now is going to be like in a very good situation. Like, will be more relaxed because like knowing he only needs a tie or stall for time. But then you do not want to be too relaxed, because this reminds me of a certain game in Call of the Best 6 in Ever Sleeping Town, if you know which match I'm talking about, Nyashi.
GG.
Yep.
GG.
Yeah, so then again, never know, because anything can happen. Like at that game in Call of the Abyss, we thought that was over, but they managed to force escape. So you do not want to be too relaxed. But I'm just saying that in theory, like if you look at this team comp, I think the possibility of force escape is like kind of low, considering in force escaping team comps we normally see more harassers, more supports, but this is a more like support, like kite heavy team comp, and kite heavy team comp is possible for free escape, but for force escape, not really.
Yeah, and one thing you have to note during Hibari's match is that he chased the rescuer first, and that's why their decoding was a bit faster, even without any decoders, even with aeroplanists available as well on their team composition. In this case, you don't really want, I mean, for the Hunter of HLT, they definitely will not chase the Mercenary early game. They do not want to risk kite, because even if someone here gets a good kite, their decoding might just be too slow for them to actually even get a tree escape right on time. But we are going to see here Toresu is going to be the first for airplane tree cipher kite, because if not, it might be a bit too bad.
Yeah, he definitely would want to kite for free cipher, but Toledo's already in a dangerous position and will be forced to use the first jetpack, which is a bit of a misplay there because he ended up shooting himself in the wrong direction. And we're talking about less than 30 seconds into the game, and Toledo airplane is already taking the first hit, so this is not too good because, as you mentioned, the airplanes here will be wanting to try and do a free cypher kite and already in half health. So let's see how Torres will be using his 2 remaining jetpacks, as one of them will be used to try and make it towards back at the center, but him exiting the corner house, one of arguably the stronger kiting places in Everseeming Town, is definitely less than ideal because he'll be end up trapping himself in a weird area.
Yep, we are going to see here Torres still has one more jetpack to use, but Frost One already. Blink is ready, and he's going to go for it. He does miss Blink, unfortunately. He is going to be forced to break the pallet. He decides not to play for the Shadow Dance because Torres can definitely react to that in time. Does manage to get the flywheel as well. So Toresu giving some space here for Team 2GT, but unfortunately he's going to be going down here. But he's actually kited a pretty decent time. 2 ciphers and one that is about 70%. So a chance here for 2GT to maybe go for the 4 escape, but still they need to do this the ciphers as fast as possible.
Yeah, I think for the survivors, they probably should aim for free escape because they don't have the survivor team comp they need for escape here. So Aeroplanist here has no more jetpack to work with, so will be taking a hit and will be dashing straight to the corner, making sure that he does not disrupt the survivors' decoding. Meanwhile, the psychologist will probably be using the stress level to heal up the mercenary long range, which is probably why they chose the psychologist in the first place. Though, one thing is that I feel that it's very unlikely for the aeroplanist to kite for long later-wise because the aeroplanist does not have any items remaining, and the survivors, like the ciphers, are beyond enough, so currently the advantage is still on HLT because it's very likely for him to eliminate the aeroplanist before the end game, and once he hit end game, he could just focus on the psychologist and play for a tie.
Yeah, and this is looking pretty bad still for 2GT because they do once again need a tree escape. Toresu is going to be dropping that pallet, but with not a lot of resources to use within this vicinity. One more pallet drop or one more pallet break there, and it's going to be forced to go out and make a new area. But he's just going to use the shadow dance. That's going to be Toresu going down here. And we do see that there's going to be 2 ciphers remaining, but as you mentioned, the switch to psychologist, and it's going to look really bad. Keep in mind, he doesn't even need to switch out of Blink here. He just keep it because, again, all you need is a tie. So why would you risk that? We are going to see NYX is going to be rotating away from the cipher, but that decision alone is going to slow down their decoding progress. I mean, it is the best decision here. But now he is going to be going towards Mercenary Cipher, and I mean, Frost One is actually stalling a bit of time here.
Yeah, like in normal games, it would be better for the psychologist to like retreat away and play this slow, but they cannot play this slow. Time is ticking for them because the last game ended in 4 minutes and 40 seconds. They only have 1 minute to get all 3 remaining survivors out of the game. But how are you going to do that? I don't know. But here, like this is about the lever, which is reminding us to
diabolical.
Yeah, no, this is reminding us to get enough sleep. Anyways, back into the game, psychologist is going to get found, and back to what I was trying to say, they have 40 seconds to get all 3 survivors remaining out of the game. I don't see how they're going to be doing it. A psychologist is going to be taking a hit, and I feel like this is almost game, because the thing is that I don't see them getting all 3 of the survivors out in time.
Yeah, and even if they do have an opportunity to do that, let's say even a psychologist had like 10 elbow pads here. I mean, Frost One can even go out of his way. I mean, he can even consider like abnormal a while ago, and all of a sudden they won't even have time for where a tree escape would be enough because it'd be too slow here. But now it is going to be Cypher Prime here for Yosei. They are going to go for the rescue, but I don't think at this point they have any opportunity here. We are going to see they're going to be going for the hit on Acrobat. Did not realize the psychologist actually did not have bar time, but not to worry because he still has Blink to use here. He might not even need to use Blink as NYX does manage to get a good dodge bear. The psychologist officially going down, and this might be it. He even uses warp. He's stalling even more time here. Yosei does not have a pallet to use there anymore, and he gets terror shot for mercenary here, and he's actually even going to get shared. And so all of a
Your
sudden, this is
mic.
not even. This is looking really bad here on the side of 2GT.
To be fair, they already lost. Like, it was already over for 2GT because the time already exceeded even if they get all 3 remaining survivors out of the game. So it's back to just see how this game is going to play out, as Acrobat is going to go for the rescue as the shadow there disappears. Is able to pull off the rescue though, so this is going to allow like all 3 survivors back on the field for a while. But the thing is that they still have to pop the gate, and with this amount of survivors near the gate, it's unlikely for them to pop the back gate. So it's better for them to just scatter apart and try to get 2 survivors out of the game.
Yep, and I think this is going to be it, or at the end of the road here for Team 2GT here, as we are going to be opening the other gate, but Mercenary, no more place to go, so he's definitely going down here even before detention runs out. He is going to be able to weave 1 hit, but that's going to be it here. I believe he's going to get shared here. They could go for the heal. They could do anything, but this is already a lost game here for 2GT, honestly. So they are going for the heal. Maybe they'll consider trying to go for the rescue here and trying to go for the tree escape to at least tie it up. But again, this I believe is officially a loss for 2GT. They have taken way too long here to get the tree escape. Acrobat is now making his way to the mercenary here, and he is going to get cut off relatively early as Frost One. Yeah, he's just going to go back to the chair. He's realizing that they do not have time to get this rescue anymore. IPHU is going to be trying to get it, but unfortunately that's going to be it. Yase is officially gone, and they're even going to go for Psychologist, so this might be just a Trico.
Yeah, yep, Psychologist goes down, permanent memory, Psychologist dead on chair, and the Acrobat's trying to rush the gate, but let's see, can the Acrobat make it though, because the Acrobat does have a gate decoding debuff, but it seems likely, so this will be a free mat elimination, and with that we can congratulate for HLT for moving on, as they're currently 2-1 up, meaning that they only need to win 1 out of their next 2 matches. Meanwhile for 2GT, they are not looking too good, as they must win their final 2 matches to advance. And really just for this game, the like mission for 2GT Survivor was just too much to begin with. And honestly, if you ask me, if they want a free escape game, they probably should either go for a decoding team comp, or they should have just gone like multiple support and play for a 4-man. Because this team comp is definitely not strong enough to try and get a free escape that fast.
Yeah, and that's going to be, as you previously mentioned, HLT now up 2-1, one more game. And for 2GT, it is not over for them. But I mean, one more loss, and that's going to be it. But I mean, they both played a good game. I mean, they went to overtime after all, so 2GT keeping it up. It's just very unfortunate. As soon as Hibari got tree escape like that at such a fast time, that's when, that's when the task for 2GT just was way too difficult. Even if they tried to go for a 4 escape, I mean, it's so risky. I feel like they should have, prioritized picking Novelist already before the Hunter banned it, because as soon as the Hunter just did, right, last ban for the Hunter, that's when they just did not have any more opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely unfortunate, but with that, HLT, like, their survivors, after getting free man escape, they definitely recovered very well, getting after HLT survivor got 4-manned in the first round, they definitely recovered very well, getting a free man escape here, and lift a lot of pressure away from their hunter. So I am excited to see if HLT can advance, seeing that they're only 1 match away. But then again, both teams still have a chance to make it or get eliminated, so we definitely should keep our eyes up, as we are going to be moving into the last match of tonight, LS versus ES, so let's skip ahead of time.
Yes, because it's 11 p.m. and we still have John has work tomorrow and I have school tomorrow. But this has been a very fun tournament, even though we didn't get to see the sculptor a while ago and the peddler. But we are gonna see here. Okay, I think it's loading. But
I'm trying to grab ES back.
Okay.
Whatever, I'll just do it from here.
All
Oh wait,
right.
let's see anyone in the
So
chat. Yeah, no, yeah, nothing new. Hello, everyone in the chat. Hopefully you're enjoying your time here. Us and Friday we're going to be having a very long stream, so I'll talk about this more later. As for Lost Souls, we have High Story, Dory, Tachyon, Ichi Tao, Sunflower, Butterfly Evo, and Sherback, and they are one of the teams who are currently 1 win and 1 loss in the tournament. And for ES, let's see, ES, go ahead.
we have DH1 Fuku, Kao, NM, Nam, and Mobius. This is the first time I'm seeing LS, but ES is not a new team to me. I believe they played on the first day. So I've seen this team before. And again, both teams now an opportunity to either go 2-1 or risk going all the way to 1-2. So definitely very important match for them today, or tonight rather, though this is a restream, so I'm not really sure if that is also applied. But yeah, this is a pretty important match for these two teams. We're going to head right into it. ES Survivors versus LS Hunter. This is Herbach, I believe, and Herbach, very interesting. I've heard some stuff about Herbach. I haven't seen them play though in my experience, but I believe, let me get my notes here because I actually took some notes. But I mean, we are going to see a mechanic man first from the side of Team LS.
Oh, your mic. Yeah, we are going to be seeing Novelist and Antiquarian pick next. And Novelist, we actually do see Novelist getting used to counter against the Goatman as we've seen in Call of the Best Final. So maybe that's what they're trying to be aiming for here. And Antiquarian also works against the Goatman. And for Hula Baloo, it's more of a 50-50 too. So this looks decent enough, as the first officer is the next one being banned, but this does open the gate for ES to pick the Gravekeeper if they want to. So I reckon for ES they may be choosing the Gravekeeper next, and the last one would probably be like a solid kiter or a tanky survivor on their own, such as the Puppeteer or Psychologist are possible, seeing that they have not been selected in this case. But hold on a minute, Nyashi, what on earth is this?
Lucky guy? Lucky guy.
That's Prospector.
Wait, hold on. Alright, first off, word pick was completely fine and reasonable. But all of a sudden we're seeing Prospector and Lucky Guy. Oh my god, they don't even have a rescuer on this team. And Lucky Guy's interesting. He's kind of a pseudo mechanic. I mean, you pick up a doll and I guess you go ahead and use that doll. That's one way to go about it. You can also have access to other items like a gun as well. So, I mean, that's kind of the advantage that you have as Lucky Guy. But on the other hand, Prospector's an even more confusing pick against Hullabaloo and Goatman. Because it doesn't really have a way to deal with them. I mean, you do have the repel against Goatman, but it doesn't work as well. And I guess you have a track sometimes, but in most cases, you're unable to pull it off consistently against Goatman. And even for Hullabaloo, same almost applies because of how fast Hullabaloo is and how his double surprise works as well.
Yeah, but one thing that I'm just trying to think of here is that what is the reason behind of their Lucky Guy? Like, Lucky Guy, like in IVL, normally when we see Lucky Guy, they play them as like a mini mechanic with the bots and I also have a flare gun. But hold on a minute, Nyashi, what on earth am I seeing over here as we have a Gamekeeper here? But the thing is with Gamekeeper against this team comp is that the Gamekeeper is not strong on Red Church. That's the first thing. Second of all, Gamekeeper is not strong against the Novelist, because the Novelist can literally wait for the Gamekeeper to fly to like throw their hook and then going to be using their swap ability. I'm going to find what it's called in a moment. To instantly swap metaphor, and then the Gamekeeper's hook will enter cooldown. So, and also the Prospector might Magma cancel. So I like in theory, Gamekeeper's not good against this in this situation, but maybe Batch here is just very confident.
And look at this from the side of ES, all flywheel. Like, I mean, maybe this was a Goatman thing. Maybe they all brought.
Or maybe they knew it was a Goatman.
Or maybe they knew the Gamekeeper was coming out because Flywheel is a pretty good trait. against that Goatman here. And
Game.
he is going to spawn here at the bottom left corner because also, John, since it's kind of getting late, I would suggest speeding it up right here. But he could go for Lucky Guy here, who could try to go for a Perfume immediately, or he's definitely not going for Novelist. Oh my god, please say Awful, because it's, I hate the...
Oh, come on, we're streaming!
Please rate your ads awful. We're commentating. We are going to see
right.
here he's going right into this Lucky Guy, though.
Yeah, like, actually, I wanted to talk about this, but I was wondering if ES knew that it was a Gamekeeper, that's why they had all Flywheel, because Gamekeeper gets absolutely wrecked by Flywheel because it sort of negates the chain hooks that the Gamekeeper does. And currently you can see that Gamekeeper inching closer and closer towards the Lucky Guy, who has a Perfume to work with. So not the best item, but also not the worst item, as Dodge here is going to be trapping the Lucky Guy in this area unless he able to dodge the first hook. No, but there is the Perfume though, so let's see, can the Lucky Guy make it through this pallet? Is able to make it and gets the stun, as the Gamekeeper's positioning was a bit too in front, and now just allowing the Lucky Guy to escape and able to kite for quite a bit of a time here. Huh?
Okay, sorry, that trap took me off guard. I had to like turn off my commentary mode there when I saw that trap.
Oh.
We are gonna see he is gonna be able to get the Flywheel, but Hook comes right into play, and we are gonna see that it's gonna be one hit on this Lucky Guy. Saving grace for this Lucky Guy though is that this Hunter brought excitement and did not bring Blink, so he can still kite for a bit longer, but Hook is going to come out very soon, but Dung is going to be just rotating or making the way here. He tries to dodge the Hook here, because I believe you can, hook right through the window, and he does manage to actually dodge both hooks there, so good job on this Lucky Guy, as another 14-second cooldown comes into play.
Yeah, I would definitely applaud that, the awareness of the Lucky Guy knowing that you can get hooked through that window in their positioning. And even if the Lucky Guy goes down over here, we're talking that it's already 3 ciphers into the game, and the last 2 already being decoded, and the Prospector is here to stall for more time. Is able to get with the help of the track, and even if the Lucky Guy will get chaired again, he's just wasting a lot of time here, as another Magnet will be in play here looking to stall for even more time. So let's see if it will get a balloon stun. Yup, able to. It seems that this Gamekeeper is getting a bit hasty, as he's gonna finally get a hit on the Prospector, but the Lucky Guy can now rebound kite.
Yeah, Lucky Guy is actually in a really good position here to rebound kite. This is a pretty good spot here for this Lucky Guy. He's going to be forced to break this pallet if he wants to try and play for the hook here, and he is going to go for the hook here. Does not actually... Yeah, the obstacle there stopped him from making any distance, and now Dung tries to go for another hook there. Does not get the pallet stun for Lucky Guy, unfortunately, and he actually dropped the pallet right in front of the Hunter. But look at the ciphers. This is going to be first chair, and I mean, their ciphers are about to be primed at this point.
Yeah, because the Prospector wasted too much time, and also the Lucky Guy managed to kite out for quite some time as well. And that was what I was talking about. Is like Gamekeeper in this situation is just not good. It's just like not the best pick. So Antiquarian is going to get busted over here. But even if the Antiquarian goes down, he does have borrowed time. So the one play that the Gamekeeper can make right there is to target the fact that the Lucky Guy has no borrowed time. But literally, even then, the survivors can just find a good time to pop. Or, let's see, it's able to get like the Antiquarian down because with the chain hook. But then, they still have the Novelist. The Novelist will be the next one incoming into rescue. And once the Novelist gets the trade swap and rescue, they can pop straight away.
Yeah, and Lucky Guy now stacking on those chests. It is a Lucky Guy. He now has a gun. And actually, one thing I wanted to mention, Gamekeeper has not used Abnormal a single time in this match. Excitement a single time in this match, even though he's been harassed multiple times here. 5 seconds now until the second hook comes into play.
Novelist has no borrowed time. He has to be careful.
Yeah, we are going to see here, he's going to be trying to go for Cow. He doesn't realize that Novelist doesn't actually have bar time. He literally just rescued with Flywheel, and they have Tide Turner, so I'm not sure how he didn't realize that's the case here. And now Cow's actually going to be able to kite here, and he is the only character here with borrowed time as well. And now they're going to pop the Cypher. Ooh. Flywheel comes into play. He's going to be using Excitement finally in this match, but now they're already at the gate. Blue is going to be getting chased away from this gate here as Boss is already making his way, but they already made the proper rotations to get him out of there as soon as possible. Novelist doesn't have Book nor Flywheel here, and I believe the resources here have been depleted. Pallet is still not dropped here on this side, though. We are going to see he actually manages to dodge the hook there, and Fu is doing a pretty good job, but I think he's going to go down right here.
Yeah, the Antiquarian did manage to use exit path and go back up, but can the Antiquarian make it though? There's quite some distance. Looking back, I feel like it would be maybe better if they popped when the Antiquarian was vaulting a window, because at that point of time, the chain hook from the gamekeeper is still in cooldown, so they could have just popped and had the Antiquarian get the speed boost. But fortunately for them, that's still sufficient enough as the Antiquarian will be making an exit on the other side, and this will be a free man escape. And that was what I was talking about. Gamekeeper's like early game is weaker, and the other thing is that Red Church is a map where Gamekeeper's weak at. Like we see that with all the high walls and twists and turns, the Gamekeeper never had a chance to get a straight chain hook. And the Gamekeeper also definitely gotten greedy when he tried to like hook the survivors on the chain hook, which did not work and backfired onto him.
Yep, and now for the side of LS, forced to try and go for their own tree escape, as BMO Hunter for ES here gonna be trying to make a comeback for them, or trying to get at least a tie or even get higher for them, as we are going to see Mechanic is going to be the first ban, and female dancer Novelist already heading out here for LS.
Yeah, like LSS Survivor need a free escape, so this one makes sense over here considering that they need a free escape. So we see some more like supports. The Embalmer is going to get removed. I guess they do not want the Embalmer's coffin having miracles. So for LS, they probably still need a rescuer, preferably the Mercenary, and maybe another support such as Coordinator or Antiquarian will be sufficient. Because as I said, or the Seer also works. But as I said, they need a free escape, so they're going to need like everyone in the game having like strong supporting abilities to the team. But seems like they're going to be opting for a Lawyer and Acrobat with a faster decoding team comp instead, though.
Shout out to the Lawyer. I mean, he's not a meta pick anymore, but I still love his map in this stage of the game, or in this day and age of the game, rather. But I mean, this is a pretty interesting comp for LS. No rescuer as well, very similar to ES's team comp, and a lot more support actually with female dancer and novelist. We did also see Antiquarian and Antiquarian and Prospector on the side of Team LS, but the difference between those is that excitement was very much available. It's just that the Hunter did not use it. Now, for LS though, female dancer and novelist can still use excitement, but honestly, at this point, I think I even prefer Blink still.
Yeah, but first of all, we have to see what Hunter is going to be selected first. Like Hula Baloo, Goatman, the normal ones can be selected here. Opera Singer also works. Like, honestly, for BMO, I feel like he can select anything. It's just really dependent on which one is his comfort pick, which in this case is going to be the Hula Baloo. And the thing though, female dancer can kite Hula Baloo for a bit, novelist also can kite for a bit, and acrobat also can for a bit early game. So if you ask me, anyone here can kite for a bit early game, but in order for them to get a free man escape, they definitely want to kite for at least 2.5 ciphers before having everyone pile up to try and like go for a heavy support and blocking the marks.
Yep, and we are going to see here, it's going to be Lawyer spawning right at middle. He's actually brought 3-9 instead of 12-9. I was very surprised that they're going to give the full kite to female dancer instead. Let's just speed it up a bit. And actually, nobody brought Tide Turner on the side of LS. A very interesting move on their end, as now BMO going to be heading right into this Lawyer. Does not want to give him a chance to decode, because it is a decoder after all. Does manage to get the dry ice here on high story, and now Pyrotechnics and I believe Clay is left. He does miss, however, on that double surprise.
You're actually learning the names, haha.
Yes,
So
I am learning it.
yeah, yeah. Well, currently only has one fright mark, so this is like good enough. But let's see how would the next double surprise be. Be as the lawyer just kiting around Pyrotechnics. One more dry clay. Let's see. Is it? Oh, a beautiful dodge there, managing to make it through, and a beautiful pallet stun there, having the lawyer to stay alive. That was a very nice move there. They're like getting a stun and evading getting hit because now there's a significant gap between him and the hunter, meaning that for quite a period of time, BMO is not going to be able to land any hits and allowing the lord to kite out the time, which in this game you need another long kite and misses another double surprise. It seems that the aiming for BMO is a bit off, able to finally to get the hit, but that is definitely quite some time into the game here.
Yeah, he does manage to get the jump right over towards the lawyer here, and now Clay and Dry Eyes, now only remaining double surprise, is going to be active here. So BMO, a chance to maybe go for two here.
Ooh.
Does he get it? Unfortunately, does not. I don't think he needed to actually rotate that.
That much.
Yes, but now we are going to see lawyer is going to be going down. Two ciphers have been popped, and a third one is right on its way. But keep in mind, this team does not have does not have Tide Turner.
Yeah, like he definitely kited for quite some time, but having no Tide Turner might backfire because Hula Baloo is very good at getting farmed. As a novice will get busted over here. Oh, yup. Let's see how will this novice make the rescue. He can try and get for the Hula Baloo. He can just easily get the farm unless the novice can use metaphor and swap Hula Balloon into pallet, but it seems not to be in this case, and the lawyer would be instantly farmed. So it seems to me, Nyashi, is that the survivor's decision of not having any borrowed, or rather Tide Turner, is going to backfire on them now, as the lawyer will get instantly farmed off the chair. And currently we can see that the acrobat is in the vicinity, but the question is, how can the acrobat ensure the lawyer will last until endgame with the situation we are at right now?
Yeah, and I mean, with max presence available,
Oh,
are you sure Tao is even going to be able to last himself? As he's going to be going, he does barely dodge the double down here, but I think he's going to get double down right there. And now just the dry ice remaining, as well as the pyrotechnics. We are going to see here, he is not getting a single hit. Double surprise is available, tries to use it, does manage to get the dry ice, so one more mark remaining here. Does not actually, I believe he had another charge there, but just decides to cancel it instead.
Oh, trapeze through. Let's see, though, very close, but currently having no anchor, the lawyer looking to try and dodge, unfortunately not being able to. Right, 40% of Cypher progress remaining, and currently this is more advantage of the Hula Baloo, because the Hula Baloo only needs to find an easy target and target them for the remaining of the game, and then he'll be good. So currently BMO will be approaching Dory's Novelist, who is does have metaphor, but for endgame wise it'll be harder. And the good news is that the novelist does have borrowed time, so it would be like ideal for him to go down if they time it right, though. But currently we can see that BMO is just like wandering around trying to see who is the best target to pick off for endgame.
Yeah, trying to figure out what he wants here. He's deciding to go for Acro. I'm not sure if that's the right play. He still has a lot of balls to use. In fact, he's going to use one right now. Mud Ball, one coming from the rescue and one naturally here. As we are going to see here, and now it's just, I believe, Pyrotechnics remaining here. That's going to be a down here. Cypher is going to be prime. He's actually going to go for the teleport instead, but they are going to be able to pop it the sides. Not to do, so I'm wondering where is the female dancer at all this time. They are going to officially pop it now. A female dancer is just actually within the vicinity. All of a sudden, he's going to be switching gears here. He's going to be able to drop a slow box as well.
Yeah, because the female dancer music boxes would be harder enough to kite and it could not be regen, so it's more ideal. And also that the fact that Hula Balloon knows that the dungeon is not in this area and seeing that he only needs the one down. But actually like over-rotates and overuse of the encore over there though, allowing the female dancer to last for a bit longer. But not for long though, because we can see that the female dancer is stuck in this area, and considering that the dungeon is at the other side of the map, it will be very hard for Tachyon to kite all the way towards the back gate though, as he will be going down, and remember, Alice needed a free escape, but it seemed highly unlikely at this point, seeing that they need to traverse all around the map, so they're just gonna make a run for it. As congratulations to Team ES for managing to get the win over Team LS with their amazing performance from the survivors. As a result, ES is going to be 2-1 up, and LS will be down 1-2.
Yep, and that is going to be pretty difficult for LS, but ES in the meantime actually gets an opportunity here to get closer and closer to qualifying. Now just one match away out of, I believe, 2 to qualify here for ES. And I have to admit, one thing that was very clear is just how well they were prepped in this match. We saw how good that kite was. We saw how good that harass was. They just did a pretty good job here, lasting for as long as they can, and they kind of worked their way to a tree escape, which was very much enough for the Hunter to secure a tie here.
Yeah. So like we know that we talked about this being a Hunter meta and all, and more Hunter meta and all, and normally in amateur teams Hunter the stronger, but we are seeing some very decent performance on the survivors tonight. So I am looking forward to see like the day when eventually the stronger survivor and stronger Hunter teams collide, especially when we hit BO3 once Swiss stage ends, Nyashi.
Yeah, I'm very excited as well, but that is going to be the last leg of matches today. Yeah.
Yep, this will be the end of matches today. As yeah, like I can show the results and the matchups, but it won't like matter too much because literally like the second half was also already complete as well too. So moving on Friday we'll have a longer stream where we'll have all the 2-1 and 1-2 matches being resolved in one day. So for everyone in the chat, definitely like look forward to it.
So I'll actually read these 6 matchups because it's not showing on screen because it's to be dated. I'll be reading it for everyone because I do have the list on my screen. So for 2-1 matches,
or I can literally do this.
Oh, you can also go get it. Yeah, sure, go ahead.
I literally read it like last Sunday, but whatever. So we are going to be having HLT versus No Exit, which I believe where Corona is in, CC versus FCMN, ES versus WG as 2-1, and for 1-2 with MT versus LS, Gao versus Bun, and 2GT versus PPD.
Yeah, and I think the match to watch out for here, for me at least, is CCFCMN. 2 teams that came from the 2-0 bracket just lost one. And they're going to be facing each other here for one chance at a qualifying spot, and then the other one will go to 2-2 to do a winner, to do go big or go home match there. And also from the side of 1-2, we still have 2GT, which is a pretty solid team. We saw how close that match was with HLT. We just saw LS a while ago. We also have HLT, by the way, going up against Corana's team, I just realized.
Yeah, so there will definitely be like a couple of interesting matches this Friday, so keep your eyes peeled. But for now, this will be the end of the stream tonight, so hope you all enjoyed the stream, and I'll see you on Friday. See you, everyone. Goodbye.